All of us will face disruption in our lives. Sometimes it's a positive, like getting married, or the birth of a child, or moving into your first home. And sometimes it's a negative, like losing a loved one, or losing a job you loved. This is disruption at the level of the individual, but disruption also hits companies and even countries. My name is Dr. Gareth Thomas, and I'm an assistant professor at Bond University on Australia's Gold Coast. After a long career working in electronics, I research how companies respond to disruption. Join me online to learn about the concepts and theories of disruption. I'll look at how history has been shaped by disruption and how successful companies can use disruption to build competitiveness. I look forward to seeing you online.
All right. Hello, everyone. Greeting from Malaysia. My name is Dr. Irwani from University Malaysia Perlis. So thank you very much, Digitech University, for inviting me to join this upcoming international webinar. I'm truly honored and excited to be part of this engaging discussion. So here is some of the overview that I have prepared for my sharing session with the postgraduate students. Okay, the discussion will be started with the technology disruption, okay, in how the technology navigate our daily life routines, okay, and the second one is on how the adaptation towards the disruption, okay, decoding consumer response to technological change. Okay, this one is the application of the diffusion theory by Rogers 1962. Okay, next, okay, the sharing will be covered on what makes customer accept the technology. Okay, some insight from technology acceptance model by Davis 1989, and the application of this theory, TAM, technological acceptance model, on ride-hailing services. Okay, and then the discussion will be covered, okay, on transforming disruption challenges into beautiful market advantages. Okay, and then I also prepare some case study based on the proudly Indonesian e-commerce platform Tokopedia, on how they transform the disruption into market advantages. Okay, that's all from me. Looking forward, okay, towards the interesting session, right? See you on this coming 31st January. Thank you, everyone.
Panas, kakak dikeluarkan. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, Salam Sejahtera. Good morning to the excellencies, the patrons of Puncak Prestasi Foundation, Mr. Budi Jatmiko and Mrs. Leli Nirmalasari. And then good morning also to the chairman of Puncak Prestasi Foundation, Mr. Faikar Mujahid Akbar. And then for the rector of Digitech University, Dr. Supriyadi, S.A. M.Sc. And then good morning to the excellencies as well, the vice rector of Digitech University, Mr. Aceng Kurniawan, S.A. M.Sc. And then the vice rector of Digitech University, Mrs. Darsiti S.Com, M.Com. And then the head of the master program in innovation management, Dr. Eka Purwanda, S.A. M.Sc. And then good morning to the all keynote speakers and then all the participants and committee of this event. A very welcome to every one of you to the international webinar on disruption, challenge, and opportunities. It's proudly presented by Master Degree Program of Innovation Management, Digitech University, Bandung, Indonesia. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the international webinar session. I would like to ask to every one of you, so during the session, I would like to ask you to you may give a virtual reaction, right? You can give a clap, you can give a reaction through your virtual, and then you can give a thumb up clapping sign. So before we proceed to the event, I would like to ask to every one of you to sit comfortably, and most importantly, please switch your microphone to mute mode. Thank you very much. So to commence our webinar, let us begin with a spiritual touch. I would like to invite Mr. Narmin S.A. for the Holy Quran recitations. Mr. Narmin, Mr. Nirman, sorry, are you here? Can you hear me? Okay, so
ready.
Yes, the time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا قيل لكم تفسحوا في المجالس فافسحوا يفسح الله لكم وإذا قيل انشزوا فانشزوا يرفع الله الذين آمنوا منكم والذين أوتوا العلم درجات والله بما تعملون تعملون خبير. صدق الله العظيم. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Alhamdulillahirrabbilalamin. Thank you very much to Mr. Nirman for the very soulful start. So, ladies and gentlemen, following our event, now please sit upright since we are going to hear the Indonesian national anthem, Indonesia Raya. To all audience, please mute your microphone and sit upright. Now we are going to proceed to the next agenda right now. But before of that, I would like to welcome first the 365 participants that's already joined with us in this virtual room. And then I would like to express also our gratitude to all the keynote speakers and all the leaders that have joined with us this morning. So now, us today, the head of Dr. Eka Purwanda, S.A. M.Sc. Dr. Eka, are you here? Dr. Eka, can you hear me?
Oh yeah, I'll take a mute, Sylva. Okay,
Okay.
here.
Yeah. How are you, Dr. Eka?
Fine, Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Dr. Eka Purwanda, S.A. M.Sc. for his opening greetings.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahirrabbilalamin. Salawat dan salam kita sampaikan kepada Nabi besar kita Muhammad SAW dan keluarganya. Pertama-tama saya ingin ucapkan terima kasih yang luar biasa kepada Dr. Gareth Thomas, asisten profesor dari Bonn University, Bonn Business Coast Queensland University, Australia. Saya beberapa tahun yang lalu juga pernah mampir di Queensland. Aduh, luar biasa ini. Suatu kampus yang besar dan canggih ya. Terima kasih Mr. Dr. Gareth Thomas. Kemudian juga terima kasih juga saya sampaikan kepada Dr. Nur Irwani Rahman, Research Fellow Center of Excellence for Social Innovation and Sustainability dari University Malaysia, Perlis, Malaysia. Luar biasa, terima kasih. Dan juga terima kasih sampaikan kepada Andi Nugroho, Chief Solution Officer PT Insan Optima Teknologi Indonesia. Kemudian juga terima kasih dari bantuan kampus di Indonesia kampus lain, yaitu Miss Raditha Hapsari Ph.D. sebagai moderator, Head of Entrepreneurship Bachelor Program Brawijaya University, Malang, Indonesia. Tak lupa kami sampaikan terima kasih kepada Sylva Sagita S.Pd M.Si sebagai MC, yang ini juga sebenarnya dosen teman saya, dosen dari Universitas Teknologi Digital atau dosen Digitech University Bandung, Indonesia. Kemudian terima kasih kepada Ketua Panitia Ira Darwis yang luar biasa atas usahanya mengkoordinir teman-teman sehingga bisa melaksanakan acara webinar internasional ini. Kemudian juga kepada Ibu Raditha sebagai penghubung narasumber yang luar biasa. Tanpa Ibu Raditha mungkin narasumber kita akan sulit diperoleh ya. Terima kasih Bu Raditha. Nah, tema yang dibahas pada webinar ini adalah disrupsi. Disrupsi adalah sebuah disrupsi itu merupakan sebuah tantangan dan sekaligus merupakan kesempatan apabila kita bisa mengambil manfaat dari disrupsi itu. Disrupsi adalah suatu inovasi atau cara baru yang menggantikan cara lama dan terjadinya secara masif sekali, luar biasa. Sehingga cara lama itu tercabut dari akarnya. Itulah disrupsi. Jadi membunuh gaya lama. Itu adalah sebuah disrupsi. Itu adalah sebuah produk dari inovasi. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Magister Management Innovation, MMI, was born in 2020. Every year, students are required to carry out international webinar. This activity must be purely the result of students without campus assistance. That's my greeting. I hope this event is useful and runs smoothly. Oke, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih banyak.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Dr. Eka Purwanda, S.M.Si, and thank you very much also for setting the tone for our discussion, right, about disruption. And then now I think here with me today in this room, it's already with me here, joined in this room, it's to Rector of Digital Technology University, Dr. Supriyadi S.M.Si. How are you, Dr.?
Alhamdulillah, fine.
Alhamdulillah. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's hear what is Dr. Supriyadi will say to us. Dr. Supriyadi, the time is yours.
Ya, baik. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Asyhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la syarikalah. Wa asyhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu la nabiyya ba'dah. I'm sorry, I will speak in Indonesian. Okay? Yang saya hormati Kaprodi Magister Manajemen Inovasi Dr. Eka Purwanda M.Si. Yang saya hormati Ketua Panitia beserta seluruh kru yang tidak bisa saya sebutkan satu persatu. Yang saya hormati para narasumber. Alhamdulillah, Dr. Gareth Thomas dari Bond Business School, Gold Coast, Queensland, Australia. Yang saya hormati narasumber kedua, Dr. Irwani Rahman dari Excellence for Social Innovation and Sustainability, University Malaysia, Perlis, Malaysia. Kemudian ada Andi Nugroho, B.Sc, B.Engineer M.Sc, Chief Solution Officer, PT Insan Optima Teknologi. Yang saya hormati juga M.Si, Miss Sylva Sagita, M.Si, dan Moderator Raditha Hapsari, SMM, Ph.D. Dan yang saya hormati dan saya banggakan seluruh peserta webinar internasional yang hari ini menyajikan tema Disruption, Challenge, and Opportunity. pertama-tama sebagai umat beragama, marilah kita senantiasa memanjatkan puji dan syukur kehadirat Allah Subhanahu wa taala atas segala limpahan rahmat dan nikmat kepada kita semua. Atas izinnya, alhamdulillah hari ini kita dipertemukan bersama-sama dalam webinar ini. Mudah-mudahan acara ini mendapat rahmat, barokah, dan diberikan kelancaran sampai selesai. Salawat dan salam senantiasa kita hadiahkan keharibaan junjungan kita Nabi besar Muhammad SAW beserta sahabat, seluruh umat, dan kita semua sampai akhir zaman. Mudah-mudahan kelak kita termasuk golongan orang-orang dapat syafaat di yaumil akhir nanti melalui perantaraan beliau. Hadirin yang saya hormati, peserta webinar, pertama saya ingin mengucapkan apresiasi dan terima kasih sebesar-besarnya kepada semua pihak yang telah bekerja keras mensukseskan, menyelenggarakan acara ini. Mulai dari perencanaan sampai hari ini kita bisa melaksanakannya. Dan terutama kepada panitia dan juga pada Kaprodi Magister Inovasi, mudah-mudahan acara ini menjadi pemantik semangat kita untuk terus menggali pengetahuan, menggali wawasan bersama dengan mitra-mitra dan pakar-pakar level internasional yang tentu saja akan menambah keilmuan dan kompetensi kita semua. Saya juga mengucapkan apresiasi dan terima kasih tak terhingga pada para narasumber yang tadi sudah saya sebutkan, Mr. Dr. Gareth Thomas, Dr. Nur Irwani, Rahman, dan Bapak Andi Nugroho yang telah bersedia untuk mengisi acara webinar ini. Mudah-mudahan kita bisa sharing pengetahuan, berbagi ilmu, berbagi wawasan untuk bisa terus menambah kompetensi kita. Saya juga mengucapkan terima kasih yang tak terhingga kepada semua pihak yang telah mensukseskan, berpartisipasi mensukseskan acara ini. Mudah-mudahan kerjasama kita bisa terus kita tingkatkan, bisa terus kita perkuat untuk hal-hal lainnya di masa yang akan datang. Bapak Ibu hadirin yang saya hormati, sekilas saya ingin mengupas yang terkait dengan tema webinar kita hari ini, Disruption, Challenge, and Opportunity. Bagaimana tadi sudah disampaikan oleh Kaprodi Magister Manajemen Inovasi Dr. Eka Purwanda bahwa tema ini adalah tema yang sangat menarik, yang sangat menggelitik. Ya, kenapa? Karena memang akhir-akhir ini kita mengalami satu percepatan, ya, percepatan perubahan berbagai macam hal yang terkait dengan semua proses-proses yang kita alami, baik itu proses bisnis, proses kehidupan kita sehari-hari, ya, dengan adanya perkembangan teknologi yang luar biasa, ya, dan ini mencabut, ya, merubah, ya, berbagai macam hal yang sebelumnya pernah ada, ya, sebagaimana kita ketahui, contohnya misalnya adalah dalam hal kegiatan proses jual beli, di mana proses jual beli, proses-proses bisnis, ya, yang konvensional, ya, itu sudah banyak ditinggalkan karena memang dunia sudah mengalami berbagai macam perubahan, ya. Nah, hari ini kita sebetulnya sudah memasuki era baru disruption tersebut, ya. Nah, jadi kalau saya flashback ke belakang, ya, sekitar mulai 2019 lah, ya, 2019 mulai tumbuh berbagai macam teknologi yang merubah cara-cara kita dalam berkehidupan, ya. Nah, hal itu kemudian bertambah cepat. Jadi ada satu percepatan yang luar biasa, ya, ditambah dengan kondisi saat itu ada COVID, ya, wabah COVID-19, di mana orang-orang tidak bisa bebas bergerak. Nah, kemudian timbullah, ya, budaya-budaya baru, yang merubah cara hidup kita, ya. Nah, hari ini saya ingin mengatakan bahwa hari ini sebetulnya kita barangkali sudah masuk pada era post disruption, ya. Post disruption, pasca disrupsi. Meskipun mungkin proses disrupsi itu belum selesai, ya. Tapi kita sudah ada situasi baru di mana kita perlu mengantisipasi post disruption ini, ya. Nah, mudah-mudahan ya di dalam webinar ini ya kita bisa menggali, karena di sini judulnya cukup menarik ya, challenge and opportunity, ya, tantangan dan peluang. Jadi kita harus bisa meneropong apa yang akan terjadi ke depan nanti setelah era disruption ini, ya. Nah, itu saya kira ya, oleh karena itu saya sangat apresiasi kepada panitia penyelenggara webinar ini, karena tema ini memang adalah tema yang sangat relevan dengan apa yang kita alami, bukan cuma kita ya, tapi dunia semesta ini mengalami, ya. Nah, mudah-mudahan ini bisa menjadi sebuah ajang untuk kita menambah wawasan, menambah pengetahuan, dan bisa mengantisipasi berbagai macam kemungkinan di kemudian hari dengan adanya post disruption ini, ya. Nah, itu saja barangkali yang bisa saya sampaikan. Sekali lagi saya ucapkan terima kasih dan penghargaan sebesar-besarnya kepada semua pihak yang telah berpartisipasi menyelenggarakan seminar ini. Mudah-mudahan kita bisa mengikuti seminar ini dengan baik, dengan lancar, dan bisa menambah wawasan dan ilmu serta kompetensi kita semua. Demikian, dan terakhir mewakili lembaga, mewakili Digitech University, saya juga ingin mengucapkan permohonan maaf yang sebesar-besarnya andai kata dalam penyelenggaraan webinar ini masih banyak kekurangan di sana-sini. Kesempurnaan hanya milik Allah, dan tentu saja kita selalu ada dan banyak kekurangan di sana sini. Sekali lagi, untuk itu kami mohon dimaafkan atas segala kekurangan dan ketidaksempurnaan yang ada. Dengan mengucapkan Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, webinar yang diselenggarakan oleh Magister Program Innovation Management Digitech University dengan tema Disruption, Challenge and Opportunity secara resmi saya nyatakan dibuka. Mari kita tepuk tangan bersama-sama. Terima kasih. Billahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Dr. Supriyadi, M.Sc, for a very insightful speech, right? It gives us something in our mind about post-disruption, right? So I think it's a very interesting. So ladies and gentlemen, so this is the end of the opening ceremony of this international webinar on disruption, challenge, and opportunities, right? So thank you very much for all your kindness, attention, and appreciation. Now, please, you may give your warmest reaction. You may chat your name and where do you come from in the chat box to show your gratitude for since this webinar will be open official. So let me check. So there is 408 participants already in our virtual room. Welcome to the webinar. Now you may chat, you may type your name and where do you come from or which university are you coming. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, in this event, before we start the main agenda of today's webinar, I would like to ask everyone to get ready in front of your camera, right? Since we want to take a picture. Yeah, we will take a picture with every one of you in this virtual room. So let me check. Are we ready for taking the picture? Okay, so now let's start. Give your best smile on the screen. Let's count. 1, 2, 3. How many slides we have here? Okay. Oh, now we have 15 slides. Since we don't know in which slide are you, so keep smiling for the next 2 minutes. Okay, now we are in slide 6. Keep smiling, everyone. Open your eyes. Okay, now we are in the slides 10. 5 slides to go. So let's see the. Okay. Yes. Done. Okay, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Big round of applause for every one of you. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, all the participants, distinguished guests, right, from around the globe. Now I would like to check that we have here there are how many university are we joined? So we have around from 80 university, right? So 80 university has been registered to join with this international webinar. It's come from university in Indonesia or both in overseas. So there are, I would like to say some of it is Universitas Kuningan, UPN Veteran Jatim, Universitas Singapura Bangsa Karawang, ASM Arianti, Universitas Brawijaya, Universitas Bonn University and then University Technology Mara, and University Malaysia Perlis, and University Terengganu Malaysia, and then also many university that maybe I can say it later, right? So ladies and gentlemen, yeah, let me check. Okay, everyone done, yeah? Ladies and gentlemen, I think now since the world we live in is constantly evolving, right? Presenting us with both challenge and opportunities, right? So in this agenda today, we gather virtually here to explore and dissect the intricacy of disruption, challenge, and opportunities in various fields and industries. So our webinar promises to be an insightful journey featuring esteemed speakers and experts who will share their knowledge and perspective on navigating through disruption, overcoming challenge, and capitalizing on emerging opportunities. Here we are very blissful to have 3 excellent keynote speakers for today's webinar in our main agenda. But before of that, I would like to call, right? So the keynote speaker session later, it will be led by a very excellent moderator, Mrs. Raditha Devi Hapsari, S.M.M. Ph.D. Now, I would like to call Mrs. Raditha. Are you here with us?
Hello, good morning, Bu Sylva.
Halo, good morning. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam. How are you, Bu Sylva?
Very good. Hope you have a wonderful day as well. Okay, so before we start, let me introduce our excellent moderator first, right? So Mrs. Raditha Devi Hapsari, S.A.M.M. Ph.D. She is the head of Entrepreneurship Bachelor Program of Brawijaya University Malang, Indonesia. She holds a Ph.D. from Lincoln University, New Zealand in marketing field, right? And has a profound understanding of marketing management and communication, also consumer behavior, right? Hope I correctly say it, yeah. And then she is also actively writes articles which are regularly published in renowned international journals. Very apologize, Miss, I cannot say your article one by one because it's so many. I think we need around 2 hours to say your article, right? And then now she also has received several notable awards, right? Including Outstanding Head of Department at Universitas Brawijaya in 2023, the prestigious Emerald Outstanding Paper Award in 2029, and then also she has been awarded as the Best Paper Award, Asia Pacific Management and Business Application International Conference on Management and Business Sciences, right? Oh, please give your, let's appreciate it first, right? So I think, ladies and gentlemen, This award underscores the depth of knowledge and dedication that our moderators brings to our discussion today, right? So please join me in extending a warm welcoming to Mrs. Raditha Hapsari, M.M, Ph.D. So Miss Raditha, the time is yours.
All right. Thank you very much, Ibu Sylva. Yeah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everyone. Good morning, or maybe good afternoon, for the one who stay in Australia. Yeah. Everyone, welcome to the international seminar that is held by Master Degree Program in Innovation Management, Digitech University Bandung, Indonesia. My name is Raditha Hapsari. I'm from Universitas Brawijaya. I will serve as your moderator for this session, and I'm very honored to guide you throughout this discussion today. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, before we begin, I also would like to express my gratitude to all the three speakers. We have already three speakers joining with us. We have Dr. Gareth Thomas from Bond University, Australia. We also have Dr. Irwani Rahman from University Malaysia, Perlis, and also Bapak Andi Nugroho, M.Sc, Master of Science from PT Insan Optima Teknologi Indonesia. Yeah, I'm sure that those three speakers will provide us with valuable perspective on how we should react in the disruption era in the various fields or various industry. Yeah. Okay, everyone, maybe we need to take a quick look at our agendas for today. We will start with keynote addresses from the three speakers, and then it will be followed with question and answer. And I also want to remind you that during the talks, please ensure that your microphone in mute, and also it will be very appreciated if you can keep your camera on during the session. Yeah. We also encourage participation. So as we move through the session, feel free to submit your question through the chat box, and we will address them during Q&A session. And also don't forget to put your name and institution when you're asking question. All right. I think I also need to mention to our speakers today, because our audience, the audience comes from the various circles. So maybe I will occasionally speak in Bahasa Indonesia to ensure the message is conveyed to the audience. I hope it is okay with you, Dr. Thomas and Dr. Irwani, if I occasionally speak in Bahasa Indonesia. Yeah, Bapak dan Ibu, mungkin nanti selama sesi berlangsung, silahkan kalau sudah ada pertanyaan, bisa disubmit melalui chat box, walaupun Q&A belum dibuka, ya, question and answer session belum dibuka, tapi ketika Bapak Ibu sudah punya pertanyaan, silahkan boleh disubmit melalui chat box, ya. Nanti akan disampaikan ketika Q&A dimulai. Okay, everyone, yeah, without further ado, we will now move to our keynote speakers, yeah, our speakers. The first speaker, and now we have Dr. Gareth Thomas. Dr. Gareth Thomas, can you hear me? How are you, Dr. Thomas?
Good morning, I'm well, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. So now it is the end of the winter in Australia, right?
Oh no, it's still quite warm here, so we're in the summer here.
Yeah, yeah. End of the summer, or is it still hot over there?
Oh yes, still warm here, still above 30 degrees, so yes.
Ah, okay. All right, Dr. Thomas. So yeah, you will give your keynote speech for around 60 minutes, yeah. And before Dr. Thomas give a talk, so I need to introduce Dr. Thomas to all the audience first. So Dr. Gareth Thomas holds a Ph.D. from Queensland University of Technology, and Dr. Thomas holds MBA from Griffith University. hold M.Sc, Master of Science from Osaka City University, Japan, and Bachelor of Science from the University of London. He also holds a diploma in research studies from Griffith University and diploma in Japanese language. So you're good in Japanese, yeah, Dr. Thomas? Yeah, Dr. Thomas is currently holds the position of Assistant Professor Strategy at Bonn University, and his research is focused on the impact of disruption on organization, with special emphasis on the successful strategies employed by entrepreneurs in major, small, and medium-sized enterprise. Dr. Thomas' research is presented regularly at top-tier conferences and some quality-assured journal. And also, this is a very important information as well, that before becoming an academic, Dr. Thomas was a corporate entrepreneur specializing in establishing new business units with new high technology product. He held a number of senior positions working with new product development and the establishment of new income streams with Hitachi Europe Limited, Canon Australia, and the Sony Group. All right, Dr. Thomas, you can start the talks, and now the time is yours.
Okay, so thank you very much for that kind introduction. I'd also like to thank the staff at Digitech University and Ms. Raditha in particular. I'm sorry if I've mispronounced that name. A very kind invitation, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak with you today. So let me see if I can share my screen.
Yes, we can see your screen now.
Okay. So how about that? Is that working well? Can you see my main slide?
Yeah, we still can see it.
Excellent, thank you. So today I wanted to talk with you about disruption, and disruption is a huge topic. I tried to introduce it briefly in my video, which you may have seen, but it encompasses so many wide areas of society and business. So talking about disruption in just 60 minutes is too short. So I tried to pick some key ideas about disruption and focus on those in my presentation. So today, I wanted to pick on, I guess, 5 major topics. First of all, I tried to introduce to you exactly what is disruption and where does it come from? And then there are many different types of disruption. So if we can understand the different types of disruption, then maybe we can understand how particularly companies can cope with disruption. Firms, how do firms cope with disruption? But I also wanted to talk today a little bit about why this is important for you as an individual and what can you do in your life to cope with disruption. I think often discussions of disruption are based at the level of the firm, but I wanted to maybe have a different way of looking at that today, and particularly to think about how we as employees in companies, whether we work in companies now or whether once we graduate and leave university and find employment, the companies we work for, they will face disruption. So how can you prepare yourself for this coming disruption? Okay, so my first question is, what is disruption? And I found this very interesting data that is actually quite old, and I probably need to find new version of this data. But because it's a historical slide, I think it's very interesting. So this actually comes from almost 25, what do we have here? 26, 27 years old this data is. But what it shows you is across the bottom scale there, we have the number of years since a product was invented. And then on the left-hand scale, we have the percentage ownership of that product. And this is for the American market, I should say. So as you can see, it took a long time for the telephone and the automobile to reach a high percentage ownership in the US. But and remember this is quite old data, you can see how quickly from invention to adoption the internet, the cell phone, and the personal computer is. Even the microwave oven in relative terms. So why am I showing you this slide? It's obviously old data. What's so interesting about this? Well, let me see if I can get to the next slide. What I'm trying to tell you here is that change is accelerating. There are more and more products being developed. The frequency of products is being developed, and the adoption of products is accelerating. So there is so much change happening, and change is becoming part of our everyday lives. And with change comes disruption. So let's have a look at 3 definitions of what disruption is. So I tried to summarize these very simply in my graphics on the right-hand side of these slides for those of you whose English is not so strong. One way we can look at disruption is to say that new solutions in markets create a shift in the market. This creates disruption. As new products emerge or new processes emerge, that changes the market. So this definition of disruption talks about disruption as a market entry strategy. In other words, it's supply side. It's the idea of thinking that companies can change markets because they develop new technologies. Now, another way of looking at disruption is this technological shift. As new designs emerge, as new products emerge, this will kill markets. It will make markets obsolete. So, for example, if we look at history and we think about how the internet developed, then prior to the internet, we had a number of successful companies who sold and promoted video cassettes. But as soon as the internet came along, that new technology, it completely killed that market. And the third way of thinking about disruption is based on this idea of reinventing business processes. It's this idea of continuous innovation. The Japanese have a word for this. They call it kaizen. That means continuous innovation. So it's about continuous change. And I guess that's the major theme of my presentation to you today, is how can companies cope with this continuous change? And how can we as individuals also cope with this continuous change? So I guess what I've just explained to you when I've talked about what disruption is, I'm trying to answer the question, where does disruption come from? And I thought we could think of 4 major areas where disruption comes from. And this is all around, where does change come from in society? So one obvious area where disruption occurs is when there are societal changes. Change can come from demographics. For example, more and more young people in a given economy will cause disruption to that economy. More and more old people, and we see a number of countries around the world now trying to cope with aging populations. This causes disruption. A number of Western economies. We also have Japan with a shrinking population, but also China as well is approaching a shrinking population. This will cause disruption. Unfortunately, disasters also cause disruption. I don't need to tell you about the pandemic we are still seeing the remains of, the COVID-19 coronavirus. Disasters in the environment can cause disruption, and unfortunately, war can also cause disruption. And I should say, unfortunately, there are some people in capitalist models who like to see disruption caused by disasters. They can see opportunities to make money in disasters, whether it's climate change or crime or refugees, global warming, war, epidemics, pollution, all these bad things Some capitalists are in a position to try to exploit those disasters and that disruption. But I'm not going to talk about that today. Today, I really want to talk about the top right-hand box there, which is disruption coming from technological change. And just briefly, I should also measure any political situation or legal situation that can also cause disruption, which can cause economies or companies to have to rethink their products and their trajectories. So today, I am going to talk about disruption from an innovation or a competition basis. So we have to leave those other ideas of where disruption comes from for another seminar. And if we're going to talk about innovation, I guess it's important for us to think about what are we talking about when we think about innovation. And today I'm going to base my talk on 3 types of innovation that cause disruption: new products, new processes, and new business models. So I'm sure you understand the idea of new products, how they can change markets, how they can encourage people to do things in a completely different way than they used to. Some disruption we see is through processes. So I guess what we're doing today on this webinar is a new process that has caused disruption in the way that universities can hold lectures. It wasn't so long ago that we would have to meet face-to-face. Now we have a new process, a new way of communicating. And of course, business models. Business models as a disruption are when companies find new ways to make money based on the way they can sell and promote their products. So there you go. Those are the 3 types of innovation that we can think about. But I thought it was important today to try to talk to you about, give you some historical perspective on this question of disruption and innovation. And that's why I showed you that first slide with the new products. And this way of thinking, it comes from an Austrian economist called Joseph Schumpeter. And he was one of the first people to think about innovation and disruption. And he came up with this idea of waves of innovation that hit economies, that hit society, that change the way we think. And he talked about 3 waves of innovation in his work. In the late 18th century in Europe, and particularly in the United Kingdom, where the Industrial Revolution began, then there were inventions around how water, power, textiles, and iron were used and produced that changed the way the society worked. Then, roughly 50 years later, there was another wave of innovation, another wave of disruption that hit the economy. At that time, the railways were being built. Steam was being used to propel ships as well as trains, and steel was being created and used to lay the tracks. So this revolution in the way that people moved goods and moved products around and moved themselves around, that caused a big disruption to the way economy worked. And then in the early 20th century, so this is from his book in 1932, then we saw disruption around the way electricity became used widespread, particularly in the US. And we saw the current wars between Tesla and the AC and DC adoption within the US. We saw big changes in the chemical industry. German chemical companies developed new fertilizers. This had a big effect on agricultural markets. And of course, we saw the development of the internal combustion engine and Henry Ford with the birth of Taylorism and mass production. So there you go, 3 waves that happened that Schumpeter talked about. And I've taken the liberty of adding 2 waves of my own there, just to show you that I really feel Schumpeter's work is still relevant to us almost 100 years later. We saw in the mid-20th century, we've seen a wave of innovation in oil and electronics and aviation. And of course, now in the early 21st century, we've seen innovation in internet communications. And maybe something you can notice from all of these 5 waves that I've talked about on this slide is that each wave is having a bigger effect than the previous wave. Maybe I should change my image there and make the waves look a little bigger. But certainly the effect of the oil age, the electronics age, and aviation opened up so many barriers to communication and barriers to travel and trade in the world. And now, with the birth of the internet, we have seen the disappearance of barriers across a global scale for all sorts of companies. So not only are these waves getting bigger, but they're also getting more frequent, and basically they're getting almost continuous. I also wanted to briefly show you this slide, but just because sometimes when we think about innovation, we focus a lot on products, and the products I just told you about were steam engines or cars or aeroplanes. But innovation can often, if you remember my slide on innovation, I talked about 3 types of innovation. I talked about products, I talked about processes, and I talked about business models. So if we look at processes, what we often see in innovation is we see a product innovation followed by a process innovation lag behind some years behind it. And this is some excellent research from Fujimoto into the automobile industry, where he looked at the number of product innovations, which you can see on that dark line, and he compared that with the process innovations, which came slightly after the product innovations. So much in the same way, we could argue that the internet was first created through a series of new products. The real growth in the internet came as people began to be able to develop new processes for the internet. So when you think about innovation and you think about disruption, perhaps the initial disruption will be around products, and that will have a major effect. But the real change comes later as more people began to develop new systems and new processes. Okay, I guess that's a good way for me to move into the 3rd topic I wanted to talk about today, and that's this question of types of disruption. So this slide here is based on the work of Peter Drucker, who was an American strategist in the 1980s, who was very active, and his book, Innovation and Entrepreneurship, he talks about where does innovation come from? In other words, where does disruption come from? And he highlighted 7 sources of innovation. And I'll briefly go through these because I know we don't have so much time. But it's important to realize that not all disruption or not all innovation is intentional. We have many examples throughout history where companies accidentally discover some new way of doing something. And a good example of this is Canon, a company I hope you all know. They're a Japanese manufacturer of printing and camera systems. And Canon developed the inkjet printer. Now, when I say developed, what actually happened was their engineers were experimenting, and somebody left some equipment near a heater, went for lunch, came back, and there was ink all over the desk. And from this piece of luck, they worked out that if they used heat, they could control how much ink would be ejected from the printing head. So that was completely luck. That was an unexpected event. Number 2 there is DHL. So now DHL is commonly recognized as a company that can send your products all over the world. They can arrive within 24, 48 hours, no problem. But before DHL began this business, this idea of overnight delivery to anywhere in the world was completely unheard of. It was thought of as impossible. And in fact, there was no market for this. So DHL, someone at DHL had this vision, this belief, that idea that if they created this market, then people would take use of it. They would make use of it because people did want to send stuff all over the world. Perhaps they didn't choose to because it just took too long. So here's an example of innovation where a company created a vision, and that vision created a market. The third one I wanted to look at there is a company called Raytheon. Raytheon are a technology company from the US, and they were one of the first companies in the world to create domestic microwave ovens. So why do I write bottlenecks there? Well, this was back in the 1950s in the United States. And at that time, just after the war, there was an active female workforce that had experience of independence and earning money themselves during the war effort. And then the society peace returned, the males returned back to work, and there was a active female workforce who wanted to work but couldn't because they were taking care of their families. Now, suddenly, the microwave oven enabled females in that environment to produce food very quickly. They didn't have to spend many hours preparing food. This freed up their ability to enter the workforce, re-enter the workforce, to begin working again, be economically active, and make money. So here's an example of innovation based on freeing up bottlenecks in society. I should try and speed up. Toyota is another example of a company was highly innovative because they worked out that they could produce cars far nearer the market than previously was the case. Ford's business model was based around having huge factories and selling the products all over the world. Toyota realized they could cut down on lead times, be far more flexible if they produced cars nearer the market. Demographics also causes innovation changes. So I'll give you an example of my own university. As countries around the world become more affluent and education becomes more of a focus, particularly English language education, then we are seeing a lot more students at Bond University coming from overseas. So those are demographic changes changing the market. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with The Body Shop. The Body Shop is a cosmetic company that began in the 1980s that started to sell ethically tested products. Around that time, before The Body Shop came along, companies used to test their cosmetic products on animals, for example. And The Body Shop made a political statement and said, no, we're not long going to do that. And from this, they cornered a very large share of the market. So perception in society changed. People realized maybe it's not so good to test chemicals on animals. We should look for other ways of testing products. And then the final in my slide there is this idea that new know-how will actually generate innovation. And I'm sure that's the one you're all most familiar with. That's the idea that scientists can come up with new ideas, new products, and they will commercialize those to make money and sell products. So that's the most famous one. So there you go. Those are the 7 sources of innovation according to Peter Drucker. And some innovation is builds on existing systems, and some innovation causes disruption. So my slide at the top here shows you how computer data used to be stored. Back in the 1960s, we had something called a 5-inch floppy disk, I believe they were, and used to store a very small amount of data by today's standards. But that gradually changed over the years. We had 3.5-inch floppy disk drive, then we had a Jazz drive, the CDs, the DVDs, and now we have the solid USB drives. And what's happening here is this, usually the same companies in the industry would continue to innovate their products. So the disruption to the market caused by the innovation was actually managed by the companies in the industry. It was the similar companies that produced the same products throughout all those products across the top there, same technology. But then we also have disruptive innovation. Now, disruptive innovation is where the whole world changes. It changes the different way of doing things. So I'm guessing you guys all know those 4 symbols at the bottom there. We have the web, which has obviously changed everything. But we also have, there's Airbnb, which is a company that allows people to rent out their apartments. That changes the way that people chose to travel overseas. You all know Facebook and you all know Twitter, or maybe I should call that X now, I'm not sure. So those 4 at the bottom there completely disrupted the world. So what I'm saying is there are different types of innovation. So there are different types of disruption that we think we should think about. At the very basic level, we have this idea of imitation. Some companies can simply copy or do the same thing as other companies as a way of mimicking, trying to do things more cheaply, perhaps, or more quickly. That is a type of innovation, but pretty low-scale innovation. Then we have continuous innovation. So companies will take existing products and try and improve them. So I guess that's a lot like my previous slide there where I showed you about floppy disks. But certainly, for example, cosmetic companies are always trying to do this. They're trying to rebrand their products in a way to convince you that there's been some improvements on their existing products. Then we have something called dynamically continuous innovation. This is where you have a dramatic improvement in an existing product. And I'll give you the example of the hand drill there. So, you know, back in the olden days, the drill would be manual. You'd have to twist it or maybe use your own power to drill things in. And then along came companies like Makita and Hitachi, and they used their motor technology to cause a big jump in the type of innovation in products. Nevertheless, basically the same market, basically the same product, but a big jump in the disruption, the technology. And then the 4th type of innovation on my right-hand side, on the right-hand side of the slide there, that's discontinuous innovation. Discontinuous innovation is disruption at its purest and most aggressive sense. This is where completely new products are developed, which cause a huge change in the market. So I gave you 3 examples there. The semiconductor, so we used to have tube valves, and they disappeared and were replaced by transistors. And this caused a huge difference in the type of products that were available. Mobile phone is an obvious one I'm sure you're all familiar with. And I also added that microwave oven there just to remind you about how that also completely changed how society worked in the US. So if you've got those 4 different types of innovation, we can actually think about these in terms of how incremental, in other words, slight changes, or radical, huge changes, these types of innovation are. And there's a risk associated with these types of innovation. Now, you may think, imitation, Gareth, why are you saying that imitation has a high risk? All I'm doing is copying someone else's product. The market exists already. Well, this is a high risk type of solution, because if you can copy somebody else's idea, then so can someone else copy your idea. So in that environment, the danger is that you enter a market where you're constantly trying to reduce your costs or shorten your lead time, and your innovation, your point of innovation is so small relative to the original product that someone else can come along and steal your idea very quickly. And of course, on the right-hand side here, we've got the dynamically continuous innovation. This is where we've got the discontinuous innovation, which is the most innovative type of products. These are the semiconductors I talked about on the previous slide. They're highly risky because there's no market when this product emerges. The producers have to find a market for the product, but the degree of innovation is very high. Okay, so I think hopefully I've explained to you the idea of disruption now, and you can understand the different types of disruption caused by different types of innovation. The next part of my presentation, I wanted to look at how companies are coping with this disruption and how we can think about ways in which we can cope with this disruption. So, first of all, maybe it's a risky strategy by me, but I want to tell you about failure. A lot of presentations will talk about success and growth and give you a big rosy picture of the future. But I thought I would talk to you a little bit about failure. And failure happens in a lot of companies. So 90% of startups, this is a figure according to the US Bureau of Statistics, 90% of startups fail in the US. It can take up to 20 years, but the 90% fail. So for those of you out there who are thinking of becoming an entrepreneur, this is where you need to think very carefully about your future plans to make sure that you're amongst the 10% and not the 90%. So why are these companies failing? Well, these are the top 5 reasons, according to some research here that you can find on insurance quotes. So maybe this would surprise you, but the 4th biggest one there, and that's the one I want to focus on, is that entrepreneurs said there was no market need for their products. The company failed because there was no market need for their products. Well, why would that happen? So why is there no market need for the product? Well, of course, I guess we could say there was no market in the first place. Maybe the entrepreneur thought this particular invention, this particular product was going to be a huge success, and they just got it completely wrong. Nobody wanted a left-handed screwdriver, or nobody wanted a glass hammer. This is a crazy product. It was never going to sell. But I'd like to think that most entrepreneurs are a bit smarter than that. And probably the real reason why they experience no market need is that bottom line there. The market has changed. The market had moved on. So the real question is that emerges from this, if the market is changing, and I've talked a lot about change today, then what can we do to cope with that change? Clearly, if these companies are becoming bankrupt, then they have failed to respond to that change. They failed to move on. Why? Why is that happening? And that's a lot of my research at the moment, is asking that question and trying to compare companies that can respond with companies that can't respond. So I guess if you've got disruption, I guess there are 5 ways you can respond to that. Well, you can ignore it. Some companies will ignore it. Maybe they get lucky. Maybe their customers still survive. Maybe the demand is still there. But I reckon that's a pretty dangerous strategy to ignore disruption. You can try to navigate through it. As a strategy within a company, you can see that disruption is coming, but you can try to find new applications for your products. So I've been doing some research into the printing industry. And of course, the printing industry is in decline. Fewer and fewer people are printing things. Most communication now is digital. But there are still successful printing companies out there because they can navigate their way through disruption and they can find markets that still need their products. You could pretend that you can eliminate the disruption. And some high-tech companies may choose to buy up the technology that is challenging them as a way to eliminate the competition. And that does happen. That can happen. Another way is you can try and convert your systems to adapt in an agile way to respond to the disruption. Maybe think about making new products, maybe think about new markets. And that requires you basically to accept that this disruption is inevitable and you need to do something about it. So unfortunately, from my research, I see that too many small business owners will opt for ignore the disruption or try to navigate their way through disruption without really accepting it and converting their internal systems in a way that can respond to the disruption. So, why is that happening? Well, what we're seeing since the turn of this century is that we're seeing more and more competition is based around human capital and not physical capital. If you remember, a lot of those waves of disruption I showed you on Schumpeter's work was based around physical capital. It was based around factories. It was based around products. It was based around machinery. So these were tangible resources that were used by companies to create value and grow. However, now we are seeing far more companies focusing on intangible resources. So they're looking at human capital, not physical capital. It's the people inside organizations that can create the most value. They do that by creating intellectual property. They do that by creating knowledge. Their capabilities, their ideas, that's what helps companies respond to disruption. If anything, sometimes the physical capital within companies can actually be a problem for companies. Because of the investment they've made in factories or machinery, unless those machinery can be repositioned and used in a different way, they may be a drag on the company's ability to respond to change. So the future, well, certainly the present and the future, will all be about human capital. And for the rest of my presentation this morning, I wanted to pivot to talk how human capital can respond to disruption and how important human capital is for companies who want to respond to disruption. Yes, so it's all about people. Let's talk about people from now on. So if companies want to remain competitive, they are increasingly focusing on their people. So what are the factors within companies that affect people's ability to be innovative and cope with disruption? There are two major factors. One is the culture of the organization, and two is the structure and processes. Both of these variables can alter how people behave and think. So let's have a look at these in turn. When I talk about culture, what am I talking about when it comes to companies? Well, culture is a collective thing. It's about how people inside the organization interact. It's a collective thing in that it's shared by many people. It's also quite an emotional thing. It's how you regard emotion, what you think emotionally about, for example, the company you work with, your colleagues in the company. It's formed over time. It's very difficult for leaders to change culture quickly. Culture is very historical, but it does change. We are seeing change in culture everywhere. Culture comes from the symbols that surround us, our visual images, the language we use. And by the language, I'm not talking about English or Indonesian. I'm talking about the words we use, the way we describe things. Culture comes from the codes of behavior. So within certain companies, certain people will behave in certain ways. Other companies, they behave in a different way. Maybe senior people inside the organization will talk to employees in a certain way in one company, but in another company, they may talk in a very different way. This forms the culture of the company. And of course, there's that question of processes. I put processes on this slide because I wanted to say that processes will also affect the culture. So if you work in an organization where you have to collect many signatories, you have to collect authorization from so many people every time you want to do something, this will affect the culture of the organization. And of course, how the organization interacts with its markets, that will also affect the culture of the organization. So what are these barriers within the culture that can harm an organization's ability to respond to innovation? And what should they be doing in order to make their organizations more agile to respond to these disruptions that are happening? Well, I think you've already worked out that I think organizations need to be much more people-focused rather than physical products focused. Intangible assets, not tangible assets. People-focused. It's people that come up with the ideas. So organizations who are more people-focused are more successful. Companies need to think more about innovation and change. Change is no longer one big event, as I showed you on that Schumpeter slide. It's now continuous change. Things are changing all the time. So if organizations don't create structures and culture within the organization that allows for this continuous change, then there will be the company itself cannot respond quickly enough to opportunities. Perhaps in previous times, managers have been very directive in the way, hierarchical in the way they tell their employees to behave. Do this, do that. This takes time. In society now, we are seeing so much more change, so managers need to be much more hands-on in the way that they solve problems. We are seeing a lot of big power in the market when it comes to sustainable development goals. So the legal aspects and the ways of thinking about the environment are now becoming far more important for companies. And my next point there is the companies need to give their employees freedom to grow and fail. And I put fail in deliberately because we cannot grow unless we are allowed to fail. There will be things that we do that will not succeed. But if the company doesn't give us the freedom to fail, then we won't try to grow. So that idea of growing and failing is really very, very important. But then we also need to recognize personal responsibility. In other words, if we empower people to make decisions, then they need to be responsible. And the last two things there, companies need to have much more long-term thinking, and it's about taking action. So these cultural distinctions are what set aside innovative companies from more backward-looking companies. So inside the organization, these barriers to innovation often come from a lack of strategic direction within the company. What do I mean by strategic direction? Well, that comes from things like no vision. Senior management are not creating a vision for employees. They are not creating attainable targets. There may be poor senior management commitment, or there are no role models within the company. And these four things will all affect the culture within the company. Okay, switching now, if you remember, I talked about culture and I also talked about processes. So now I want to talk about processes and why processes are also ways in which the innovativeness or the ability to respond to disruption can be hampered by for people within organizations. So if you work in a company where decision-making is slow, obviously that will hamper your ability to make decisions quickly and respond to market. If within the company there are complex ways of planning, if you want to launch a new product, you have to do so many different processes in order to do that. That can also hamper the innovation process. if too many decisions within the organization are based on previous experiences, that can also hamper innovation. For example, when we tried that last year, we failed. So there is no need to try again. This attitude is quite common in companies who struggle to cope with disruption. And of course, inside the organization, finding incentives for employees in order for them to take risk, try new things, new product ideas, new customers, to try and make those steps, there needs to be some sort of reward systems. And I think all that feeds through to the idea of slack within organizations. Now, this idea of slack basically means some time that organizations have that they can give to employees to allow them to try new things. If every company is so tightly controlled that each individual has very little time, they have little time to experiment and work out new processes. So, looking on a wider level within companies, the structure within organizations can also hamper our ability to cope with disruption and innovation. If we think that what businesses do is really identify new markets, they achieve management commitment, they allocate resources, they take risks, they implement strategy, all that's very difficult to do within organizations that have multiple layers inside the organization. Communication can be poor. Each person has a small responsibility, so they cannot effectively adopt new ideas. So some organizations have too many layers and too many divisions, and all that does is slow down the decision-making process. So I think you've gathered I wanted to focus on people here, but people can also be an obstacle to innovation and an obstacle to change. People can also try to avoid disruption. So how do they do that, and why do they do that? So in fact, within organizations, people are often the biggest obstacle to change. People are generally comfortable with what they're good at and what they know. If you ask people to do something different or do something that they've never done before, then that can be a big challenge for them. That asks them to do something they're not familiar with, they're not comfortable with. So generally, people are resistant to change. They tend to be quick to judge things if things don't work out. Many people have something called, one of my favorite new words is neophobia, which is a fear of new things. If there's change, that's seen as a threat. Also, people sometimes prefer to follow rather than lead. So they are happy to take action, but later, not now. Also, people tend to love order. If disruption causes a unpredictable environment, then that can be seen by people as a threat. So very often, another factor to consider is if we are thinking of tightly knit organizations, then if there is some force or power from outside the organization trying to cause change, that is often often causes problems for companies and people. The most effective way to cope with this need to change is to have people within inside the organization who can act as agents for change. Okay, so I've talked a lot about today about where innovation comes from and how that can affect disruption. And I've talked about people as the center for how organizations can respond effectively to this disruption. So unsurprisingly, I wanted to close my presentation today with a few more slides for you to talk really about disruption at the level of the individual. Maybe you guys are still at university and you're studying your courses. You need to prepare yourself for the workforce, what's going to happen in the future. So I wanted to talk about how you can do that and how you can prepare yourself for a disruptive environment that we're now living in. So here's a slide for you, and I'm sure you can get hold of this later to look in a little more detail. It asks you to think about how you cope with change. And this is some great research from Kakabadze. It's a little old now, but it's still really excellent research, and it looks at how people respond to change. If they can be flexible and grow, then they will learn new skills. If they are threatened and depressed by change, then it can be a very uncomfortable experience. So I think I won't talk about that slide in detail, but perhaps later on you can get hold of that slide and have a think about how you respond to change. So within organizations, within companies, where do these ideas come from that fuel change within organizations? So they can come from outside the company. They can come from customers, suppliers, customers. Maybe they come from universities. But most ideas in organizations actually come in-house. Now, traditionally, that could be from the research and development department. It could be from engineering, purchasing, manufacturing, or even from people in marketing and sales. But fundamentally, if the ideas are coming in-house for new ideas, for new products, new markets, new how to cope with the disruption, then companies are increasingly reliant on the quality of their staff to come up with these ideas. And I wanted to talk about two factors which definitely drive companies' ability to think about where new products and new ideas are coming from. And these two factors are creativity and diversity. So let's see what I mean by creativity and diversity. So here's a quotation from Dan Brooke, who actually works in the UK at a TV company. So unsurprisingly, TV companies, media companies are often looking for imaginative new ideas to make television programs. And what Dan Brooke says is creativity doesn't mean being artistic. It means you're able to respond to problems imaginatively and laterally. So maybe you're thinking about creativity and you're thinking about painting pictures or singing or creating music. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the ability that we have as individuals to think in a different way to solve problems. So how can we as individuals improve the ways in which we think about issues? So creativity is very much a left-hand brain experience mixed with a right-hand brain experience. So our left brain experience tends to be more analytical, but it's our right brain experience that makes us more creative. So if we're going to be creative, we first probably need to be analytical. So maybe you'll hear a lot about people who are creative and their right brain activity, but I would argue that first of all, we need to be analytical. So we need to use all our brains, our ability to be logical and rational, our ability to explain ourselves, that comes from our left brain. But then we also need, if we're going to be creative, we need to think about how our right brain works, the idea that there will be some imagination, there'll be some intuition. And yes, maybe we have to break some rules in order to be creative. So what inhibits creative thinking? What is happening inside us and inside companies that stops people thinking creatively? Well, the first one at the top there is, I'm sure you're familiar with this one, that's peer pressure. You don't want to look stupid. If you come up with a crazy idea, you're concerned that your peers will say, hey, that's crazy. Why are you thinking that way? So we don't want to look stupid. We should also guard ourselves at the second point there. Received knowledge is not always correct. Now, by received knowledge, I mean There are certain accepted ways of doing things. So as students, I would ask you to always question about whether that is the correct way of doing things, or is it the way we've always done them? That's not necessarily the same thing. So keep asking yourself, is that the correct way to do something? Sometimes within organizations, quick fixes are better or more popular than the best solution. Solve the problem quickly, don't get to the root cause. The fourth one I've got there is sometimes we're quick to make a decision and we don't consider multiple answers. I taught a course to some medical students a while back and around innovation and thinking, and it really scared me how many of them were under so much pressure. They wanted ideas really quickly. They wanted solutions really quickly. They didn't take time to think about the depth of the problem. So they didn't always come up with the right answer. And that fifth point there is something I'm going to turn to in my next slide. And that's that question of diversity. So if we have a team of people who all have very similar experience in life, then that can encourage something called groupthink, where we all think the same way and we don't question what's really happening. That can stop our creative thinking. So let's talk a little bit about diversity of ideas. So this is a quote from Edith Penrose, who was one of the leading academics to look into entrepreneurship. And she was around in the 1950s. And she talked about heterogeneity, which is an academic word, which basically means diversity. So it's the diversity of services available or potentially available from the resources inside a company that gives it its unique character. So what I'm talking about now is not a really new idea. This has been around a long time. This idea that companies become competitive because they can come up with good ideas. So this diversity, what am I talking about at the level of the individual? Well, there are two ways or two types of diversity within the way we operate. One is the things that we're born with. That comes from our gender, our ethnicity, our sexual orientation. These are things that we were born with. But there are other types of characteristics that you gain as you grow through life. This comes from your experience. Maybe you can appreciate cultural differences. Maybe you learn a new language, so that helps you to think in a different way. You learn new things. You get a broader knowledge. You have a new way of thinking. So when we think traditionally about diversity, a lot of academics talk about gender, they talk about race, they talk about background, maybe they talk about whether you're married or whether you're single. But for me, that's all too simple. Those are very sort of superficial measures. What really counts when we talk about diverse thinking is this way of thinking. This is what counts. Do we think differently? If we're in a group of people, we may all come from the same background, but are we really all thinking the same way? So even though in academia, often demographic attributes are used as a proxy, it's an easy way to describe someone. How old you are, whether you're married, where you came from. That's not really a measure of you as an individual. What's the real measure is your attitudes, your knowledge, your way of thinking. And that's what companies are looking for when they try to think about the people in their organizations. So diversity will affect innovation. If you have a diverse team, then they'll have a wider set of skills. They can work out how to make things in different ways because they know more. They may have a wider knowledge base. They've got more experience. Maybe because they've got more knowledge, they're also good at learning. They can learn new things more quickly. And they can solve problems in a different way if they have different backgrounds. So there's 4 reasons why diverse teams are much more productive in companies. So maybe you're thinking, Gareth is telling us that the best way for companies to behave is to have this diverse workforce, totally diverse. Well, I'm not actually saying that. There are In some circumstances, a diverse team will produce better ideas, but you may need a homogeneous team, in other words, a team with not so big differences, to implement ideas. So there's a separation from the creative, the idea generation side in companies, with the application, which may require a more homogeneous team. So just to swing back to some of my previous slides, you remember this slide? I talked about imitation and I talked about discontinuous innovation. Well, if we talk about homogeneity or this idea of diverse teams, it's really easy for non-diverse teams to create imitative products, just copy what someone else has done. But to come up with a completely new idea, that's where you need more diverse teams, you need more different types of people within inside organizations. So there you go. As I said, more diversity, is it a good thing? Well, not really, because if you have too much diversity, then that can create problems of implementing ideas. You have too little diversity, and that creates the problem of creating ideas. So companies have to find the balance between these two extremes. So increasing employee diversity strengthens the need for interaction and communication within the firm, but might lead to conflict and distrust. So firms need to find a balance between this idea of getting the right amount of diversity, but also not too much diversity. So too little diversity and creativity suffers, and there's a danger of negative returns. So back to you as an individual. I'd like you to stop thinking about the left-hand side here, which was your gender, your ethnicity, where you came from, whether you're married, your age. Those things don't matter so much. What matters really is the right-hand side here. So when you're in education and you're going through your career, then think about how you can improve yourself as an individual, how you can gain more knowledge, new ways of thinking, pick up a new language. This is what will make you more successful as an individual and make companies look for people like you. So my final slide. This is from a quotation from T.S. Eliot, who was a very famous English poet, and he said, "Only those who will risk going too far can possibly find out how far one can go." So think about how you can push yourself in new ways to find new ideas and improve yourselves. And I'm sure that will give you the most fruitful life in front of you. Okay, thank you very much for your time.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Gareth Thomas, for your valuable insight on the changes and innovation on the world of disruption. Please allow me to summary your talk a little bit in Bahasa Indonesia. Ya, Bapak dan Ibu, tadi Dr. Thomas mention bahwa disruption bisa datang dari banyak sisi gitu ya, dari banyak sisi. It can come from society, itu bisa datang dari society, politics, technology, bahkan bisa juga datang dari disaster or bencana. Tapi untuk bisa menang di industri, untuk bisa stay in the industry, kita perlu untuk inovasi. Inovasinya tadi sudah dijelaskan juga oleh Dr. Thomas bahwa inovasi itu bisa juga dari inovasi produk, inovasi proses, or business model innovation. Those kind of innovation, it will helps industry to stay, it will helps the firm, or ini akan membantu perusahaan, membantu organisasi untuk stay di industri. Kemudian tadi Dr. Thomas juga mention bahwa beberapa inovasi itu sebenarnya didapat secara tidak sengaja maupun dengan sengaja. Inovasi juga bisa dibedakan menjadi sustaining innovation. Dr. Thomas mentioned that formerly we used to use floppy disk atau kita sebut sebagai disket gitu ya Bapak Ibu ya, tapi sekarang beralih ke VCD, sekarang kita menggunakan USB stick for example. Kemudian ada disruptive innovation seperti sekarang kita menggunakan internet, kita menggunakan Airbnb dan juga sosial media. Kemudian tadi Dr. Thomas juga mention bahwa ada dua hal ya, at least yang perlu disiapkan untuk mempercepat perubahan. Tidak hanya physical capital, we also need to prepare human capital as well, seperti pengetahuan, kemudian network, reputation, reputasi, ide-ide dan lain-lain. Sehingga saat ini kita juga harus fokus pada orang atau disebut tadi people focus. Beberapa hal penghambat inovasi bisa jadi karena keputusan yang lambat, keputusan berdasarkan pengalaman sebelumnya, reward system yang tidak realistis, itu bisa menghambat inovasi. Selain itu, orang-orang di dalam organisasi juga bisa menjadi hambatan besar, sehingga dalam organisasi, we also need a gen of change, ya, a gen of change from inside our organization. Right, Dr. Thomas? Kemudian berpikir kreatif, ya, creative thinking, embracing the diversity, kita menerima perubahan, bukan menerima perubahan, menerima perbedaan gitu ya, termasuk perbedaan sikap, pengetahuan, cara berpikir, itu menjadi kunci dalam menghadapi lingkungan yang berubah dengan sangat cepat. Once again, thank you very much, Dr. Thomas. Later we will have an interactive session in question and answer session. But for the audience, I think I have to announce that before we going to listen to our next speaker, Dr. Ya, Puncak Prestasi Foundation, Dr. Budijat Miko via video conferencing. And for the remarks from the chairman of the Puncak Prestasi Foundation, I will hand the session over to the committee. Silahkan, Bapak Ibu Panitia.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to thank the speaker is the seminar Disruption Challenge of Opportunity. The first, Mr. Gareth Thomas, Ph.D. from Australia, and second, Mrs. Irwani Rahman, Ph.D. from Malaysia, and the third, Bapak Andi Nugroho, a Master Science from Indonesia. And I would like to thank the entry committee of the international seminar had the master student in innovation management at the Digital Technology University in Bandung. Today's seminar is very interesting how disruption is being discussed in various parts of the world. As we know, many business people, bureaucrats, and others have to adapt to disruption with digitalization. Business disruption is the process in which a product becomes popular and replace an international or common product or service. This kind of disruption can impact entry industries and understanding them and help you manage or create on for your own business. In this webinar, we will discuss with disruption is the impact of business disruption, the pros and cons, as well as explain that you can follow, as well as the opportunity and challenge of disruption. Finally, I would like to thank all the parties, the committee, speaker, and participation of the international webinar at the Digital Technology University Innovation Management Master Study Program. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Dr. Budijat Miko, for your remark. Yeah, I also want to mention that the committee have some door prizes that will be shared for the audience at the end of the webinar. So make sure that you are stay on the Zoom room until the end of the event. Ya, Bapak dan Ibu, panitia sudah menyiapkan beberapa door prize ya. Mungkin banyak door prize yang akan dibagi. Jadi silahkan Bapak Ibu tetap bersama kami di sini ya di Zoom room hingga acara selesai. Jadi jangan dilewatkan ini ya. Panitia sudah menyediakan banyak door prize. All right, now we are going to hear the second talks. that will be delivered by Dr. Nur Irwani. Dr. Nur Irwani will be talking about how industry can be adaptive and responsive to technological shift and disruption. Assalamualaikum, Dr. Irwani.
Yeah, Waalaikumsalam.
How are you? Hope
I'm
everything
fine here
goes well with
from
you.
Malaysia. Thank you for inviting me for this international webinar.
Yeah. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Nur Irwani Abdul Rahman is an academic at University Malaysia, Perlis. She also is one of the research fellow at Research Center of Excellence for Social Innovation and Sustainability, University Malaysia, Perlis. Dr. Nur Irwani earned her Ph.D. in Business Management, Marketing from International Islamic University, Malaysia. And she got Bachelor and Master of Science in Business Management, specialization on marketing from University Technology Mara, UITM, Malaysia. Her current research interests include marketing, service marketing, consumer behavior, sharing economy services, and she also involves in several consultancy work with USIM Tijarah Holding, SDN, B.H.D, and IIUM Entrepreneurship Consultancy. Yeah, so I think it will be very fruitful discussion later on when we open question and answer with Dr. Gareth Thomas and also Dr. Nur Irwani. All right, without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Nur Irwani Abdul Rahman. Doctor, the time is yours.
Okay, Assalamualaikum and very good morning. It's still morning in Malaysia, 11 a.m. So congratulations to Secretariat or the committee for choosing these. For me, it is an interesting topic, okay, to be discussed. It's quite a wide topic, okay, quite a wide topic for me. So I will try my best to deliver the content. So let me share my slides. Sorry, my slides. Alright. Okay. So that we get a clearer picture. All right. So this is the briefly the outline that I have prepared for this sharing session. Okay. How do we as a person, okay, as the user, as the customer, we applying, okay, the output of disruption itself, okay, in a good way, okay, in a good way, in a way that we are optimizing this advantage, okay, the advantage of the disruption, okay. And the second one, I would like to have some view, okay, some view in the matter of consumer responses to this kind of the technological disruption or changes. Okay, I would like to take your attention in sharing diffusion theory by Rogers. Okay, and the third outline would be on a bit insight from established theory. Okay, established theory of technology acceptance models. This one is by Davis, 1989, on what makes customer accept technology. Okay, what makes customer accept the technology. And I also prepared the application of technology acceptance model on the application of the ride-hailing services. You know, ride-hailing services is one of the output. I can consider it as a successful disruptive business model that assisting us as the user, in many ways, So I'm bringing this kind of this application, and then I would like to share some strategic navigation, okay, in transforming, okay, the disruption challenges, okay, sort of challenges into market advantages, okay, advantages. And again, I am sharing the output of disruption advantages, okay, in the case of the Tokopedia, okay, case of Tokopedia, and maybe some, and I will close the sharing um by presenting about my research background and what I'm currently doing in my research work. Okay, all right. So I hope that all the outline will be sufficient for the given 16 minutes. Okay, all right. So the technology itself has a significant impact, okay, of course, in our daily life. Okay, of course, it is certainly influencing how do we work, okay, and how do we communicate, access the information, and even how we are entertaining ourselves, okay, nowadays. So it is navigating, okay, in our daily routine. So here is the I'm bringing you, okay, some of the examples of business model that based on the disruption, okay, disruption. Okay, communication. Okay, the first one is the communication. You can see the application in smartphone, the usage of the social media, right? The second one is on work and productivity. Is you can see the application towards the remote work tools and cloud computing. Even what we are doing right now is a live sharing, okay, across a different country, right? So we can see the application of the disruption in entertainment, okay, in the live streaming service and gaming as well, okay, shopping, e-commerce, okay, and digital payment, and as well as healthcare, education, and as well as the transportation. So regarding these ride-hailing services and electric vehicle. So this platform disrupted, okay, this kind of the industry, okay, by allowing individuals to optimize, okay, the usage, okay, according to the current needs and wants, okay, according to the current needs and wants, right? So okay, I would like to bring your attention towards the one of the theory that I would like to share, okay, is about diffusion technology. Diffusion of the innovation theory by Rogers, 1962. Okay. Basically, this theory tell us about this how is new idea or innovation spread among people over the. So nothing stay permanent because change is constant. Okay? That is the common quotes. The common quotes, okay? Because we are dealing with the human needs and want, okay? With human needs and want as the human evolve, okay? Evolve, okay? We evolve or changes, okay? We want to move further. We are talking about live within, okay, live within this our life. So we have to face the changes. Okay? In fact, we have to face the changes that we have to accept that the facts, okay, that all people, okay, people, user, as a customer, we have specific needs and want in order for us to live, okay, live our life. So imagine, it is set like a journey, okay, back to these slides, okay, where the different type of the people, okay, will adopt a new thing at different stages, okay. There are 5 categories, okay, according to the innovation theory. Okay. There are 5 categories: innovators, and early adopters, early majority, late majority, and laggards. So in coping with the changes, facing the disruption itself, okay, this is the category of the people, okay, the innovators, okay. This one is the most adventurous, who are who are eager to try the new thing first. Okay, they want to be the first one to try the new thing. Okay, the new thing. New thing here can refer to the new technology, specifically a new technology. Okay, for example, first people that eager to try the latest gadgets when at the moment the gadget will launch. Okay, and then the second category is the early adopters. Okay, where this category is influence. Okay, it is influencer to follow the innovator. This one is the follower of the innovator. Okay, the second one. Okay, and then the early majority. Okay, this category of people. Okay, they are practically folks. Okay, folks. Okay, who adopt thing when they becoming more popular. Okay, a bit late than the early adopter. Okay, and late majority. Okay, so according to these Rogers, okay, this one is the skeptical people who adopt when something is, okay, the new thing is becoming norm. Okay, so then only they decide to change and follow the routines, okay, the new routines, okay. And then the last one, okay, the laggards. The laggards is the cautious one who usually being the last category to adopt. Okay, someone is still using the flip phone when everyone else have their smartphone. So yes, it is happened. Okay, so it is happened, right? So for opportunities in the business, in business market, this is the relevancy, okay, of understanding Rogers innovation adoption, okay, in helping us, okay, to understand who is likely to adopt early and which category which need more convincing, okay, because we are eager to introduce new technology based on the continuous improvement. So definitely we navigate, okay, we are guiding, okay, we are guiding them in introducing, okay, in letting them to know about what is new about these changes, okay, about these changes. So to summarize, okay, we guide for us in the business practitioner on how to talk with the different people at the different times. Okay, maybe the strategy that we will craft, okay, for innovators is different than strategy that we design for early adopters. Okay, and the strategy that we are planning to do with the people in the laggard category might be slightly different than the strategy that we are going to use in the early majority groups. Okay, so that is the practicality behind of the theory. Okay, behind of the theory. So we embrace the change. Okay, we embrace the change. okay, we are coping with the changes, okay, by educating ourselves, okay, on how to accept, okay, and how to accept and how to live within the changes, okay, and how do we live within the changes. All right. So, okay. Theoretically, okay, theoretically, what makes a customer accept the technology, okay, or the new thing, okay? Technology here can consist of the services, okay, service-based product or product, okay, intangible or tangible, okay. This is some insight from quite a well-known theory. It is quite a well-known theory from Davis. Okay, from Davis. Okay, it's called technology acceptance model. Okay, technology acceptance models. Okay, TAM. TAM basically helping us. Okay, as a user of this new technology in understand why people decide to use or not to use a new technology, because it's look at the way the people find the technology easy to use and useful in their life. Okay? So by understanding this factor, okay, so we can predict if someone is likely to use to actually use new technological tools. Okay, new technological tools. So there are two important factors. Okay, two important factors: perceived usefulness, okay, and perceived ease of use. Okay, perceived usefulness and perceived ease of use. Okay, perceived usefulness is about the basic function of the particular technology that can help people. Okay, to what extent the function of a new technology can help people in our daily life. Okay, and the second one is the perceived ease of use, is about to what extent the new technology is supposed to be simple and easy to be used. Okay, and easy to be used, and how easy people think the new technology is to be used. Okay, is to be used. Okay, and then most of these criteria they can stimulate. Okay, they can stimulate inner intention for us as a new user to try, okay, to try to use the new technology and encourage the actual use. Okay, encouraging actual use. Okay. Um, so this is the application, okay, of TAM in ride-hailing services, where I think, and I'm very sure, most of us have experience to try how easy the ride-hailing services, if we compare with the conventional taxi. Okay, conventional taxi. Okay, so perceived ease of use, okay, for the ride-hailing service, okay, is mobile app based with a simple booking process, okay, clear navigation, okay, for both, for the driver and for the user, okay. In terms of the perceived usefulness, okay, is a reliable transportation, okay, because we have the real time tracking, okay, we have the real time tracking, okay, and it is a time efficient. It's time efficient because we can easily track, okay, the time of arrival, estimated time arrival, estimated time departure. So it is become more convenient, okay, more convenient than the conventional taxi, okay, conventional taxi. So both of the criteria, okay, both criteria have educated users' mind, and created a positive perception, okay, positive perception that lead the stimulate, okay, towards the intention to use, okay, behavioral intention to use the application, okay, because we have we will be able to do the direct comparison. This is better than this is much better than the conventional taxi, okay, and we start to use the application. At the moment when we start to use the application, we also starting to explore more advantage, and we tend to make the comparison. Then after that, then only we start to normalize. Okay, we will start to normalize the usage of the service into our life. So this is what I'm trying to explain, that I'm trying to share with you, that embracing the changes, okay, embracing the changes in a certain way can assist, okay, can assist us as the as what it is, and what is to keep moving, keep living our life, okay, productive, productively, okay, productively, okay. So in navigating, okay, in guiding the challenges, okay, disruptive challenges into market advantages, okay. So these we cannot avoid, of course, okay, because changes is happening every single day. So we have to be ready to embrace, to face the changes. So this is unavoidable. Okay, let's say today is the version 7.3. So by next day, we should be able to ready for version 18. Okay, for version 18. So we cannot avoid. In fact, that is a gift of life, especially for business, okay, for the business practitioner, okay, for the business practitioner. Okay. Even if you are conducting the conventional business model, okay, brick and mortar business model, that before this you have no chance to try the digital, you have no intention at all to try or to get into the digitalization, okay, about the internet, smartphone, okay, even you have no plan at all, but living in this ecosystem, okay, normalization of the ecosystem, like right now, okay, uh the business model we eventually face disruption, okay, whether the kind of the disruption comes, okay, from economic headwinds, okay, regulatory pressure, new competitor, changing of the human customer habit, or internal miscues. So it is impossible for a business, for a conventional business model to stay same without any changes, okay, without any changes. So the expectation need to be realistic and up to date, okay. The expectation about operating a business nowadays need to be realistic, okay, need to be realistic about anticipating and embrace the change. Okay, even though you are selling the tangible product, okay, maybe we need to innovate. Okay, the way that people used to pay the product. Okay, this is the example on how business can strategically navigate, okay, their direction, okay, to stay relevant, okay, to stay relevant within this new ecosystem, okay, within this new ecosystem, okay. Of course, okay, um, we have to stick, okay, we have to stay relevant with the direction about the customer-centric approach. What is the new or what is the latest, okay, latest tools, latest taste, latest behavior of the customer that are currently doing a business with us. Okay, this is the customer-centric approach. Okay, it's about improving, okay, improving, following and improving. Okay, following them and improving. Okay, okay, it can be a process. Okay, innovation. Okay, innovation, disruptive, innovation, disruptive changes. Okay, it can be a process, it can be a product, or it can be a service. Okay, so it should be agile business practice. Okay, agile, stick, firm. Okay, and you know, and of course, okay, transformation and talent management. Okay, so why it is happen? Okay, why it is happen? Okay, back to the basic factor. Back to the basic factor. First thing comes first is the normalization of the technology. Okay, we accept, we use, and it is normalization of the technology. Okay, we have to live. Okay, we have to live within the new normalization. Okay, new normalization in a way that we are coping with the challenges. Okay, some rules company need to follow. Okay, if we are, you know, if we are running a business, okay, and we are not embracing the changes, so the competitor keep moving, left us behind them. So they are strong competitor, you know. If we are not following the market to stay relevant, so there are new competitor entering the scene. Okay, the scene. All right. Some interesting fact. Okay, some interesting fact. Even the largest company are at the more, I think, at the risk of the disruption due to the globalization and fast technological progress. Okay, in the past, a big company lasted longer, but they are now might face a disruption. So if they are not well prepared, okay, they are not well prepared, okay, for the impacts of being, okay, of being late adapters, okay, late adapters of this disruption, okay, according to the, okay, according to this adoption curve, okay, according to this adoption curves. All right. So some good news, okay, facing disruption doesn't mean that end for a business, but I see this is chances for a business leader, okay, to see it as the opportunity, okay, opportunity. Leaders can be, you know, can learn about disruption, understand how it happened, and find a way to turn it into the chance and reach new customer and continue to create a new market. So this can be a guideline, okay, rather than drawback, okay, rather than we see as a threat, okay. Okay, in a simple terms, the market disruption is a big change that can make a business nervous, okay, because we are facing the changes, okay, with uncertainty, okay, uncertainty markets. But you know, smart leaders can turn into a good thing by finding the new opportunity. Okay, finding a new opportunity. All right. So you know, Tokopedia, I consider this is a good example for a disruptive business model. You know, for several reasons that I pick. Okay, we'll be able to transform from the traditional retail landscape in Indonesia. Okay, cash-based economy. Okay, economic inclusivity and mobile internet adoption. Okay, mobile internet adoption. I see this this situation as most of the fact most the obvious factor, okay, the obvious factor behind of this beautiful transformation, okay, from this threat to market advantage. Okay, in the case of the Tokopedia, I think this one is towards economic inclusivity. Okay, economic inclusivity, because this one is they are empowered many SMEs by providing a marketplace for especially for the local sellers. Okay, local sellers which continue to contribute overall economic growth. Okay, overall economic growth. So this one is, you know, fostering towards economic inclusivity, okay, by including more SME into the market. Okay. Other than that, okay, from the challenge of limited access to the broad customer, okay, so the opportunity, okay, the opportunity is turned into the comprehensive, okay, online connecting sellers, okay, with a diverse consumer audience, okay, consumer audience. So more sellers, okay, more sellers, we create more sellers mean more demand. Okay, more demand, of course, we will be able to create more demands. We'll be able to create more demands from intense demographic, demographic context from the Indonesia market. Okay, and then from the cash-based economy, okay, from challenge on reliance too much on the cash transaction, okay, the transform to the opportunity in introducing the various payment option, okay, of course, including the digital wallets, the bank transfer and debit card and credit card, so on. Okay, of course, mobile internet adoption, okay, shifting. This is the challenges, okay, shifting consumer behavior towards mobile internet and, okay, turn into the opportunity to develop a user-friendly mobile apps, okay, to enhance accessibility. Okay. So this is a good example. Okay? This is a good example of Tokopedia in a way of utilizing or optimizing the disruptive based business model. Okay, sometime in the business, okay, we are striving to find or to create the opportunity, okay, while by you know, keep exploring what more do we have to for us to offer, to be offered in the market, okay, in the market. Okay, sometimes it is valuable, it is worth to be the producer, okay, because you can you are focusing on the specialty to produce the quality output. Okay, sometimes it is much better for you to to be just a seller, okay, without producing the intangible or tangible products, because you have the specialty, you have the specialization, okay, you have the platform, you have your own shop just for the sake to sell the product and service. Okay, sometimes it is worth to to grab this kind of the opportunity and to offer to the market. Okay, so business is about finding and creating the new opportunity. What more do we have so that we can offer to the markets, so that we can cope and face, okay, the current, the latest. It's about customer centered. Okay, it's about customer centered. Okay, it's about guiding the innovation. It's about guiding the innovation, aligning them with the current, current customer needs and wants. Okay, this is how the way market responds when any changes, any changes, any we'll call it any new thing, okay, any new thing about about the the new offering, okay, about the new offering, right? Okay, so I believe this is the last part, okay, last point of my sharing. Okay, I would like to share my research work. Okay, basically I am studying the gig economy. Gig economy is output, is a ground, is a layman terms for sharing economy. Sharing economy, that sharing is a root word. Gig economy services or sharing economy services. Okay, this one is the output of the disruptive business model, okay, that emerged right now very well, okay, since 2012, okay, since 2012, okay, after emergence of the smartphone and internet. Okay, so I'm studying the output of the disruptive business model, that is gig economy services, okay, gig economy services, where people do short-term job based through apps only, application, is certain application. So my research is want to see what are the benefits of this job platform can provide to the workers, okay, temporal workers, okay, like those who drive for ride hailing services like Grab or delivery food platform partners. Okay, so my research is focusing on how this benefit makes workers in gig economy really like the job. Okay, and why it is important to keep this benefit for the workers, because we want to warrant their participant to stay longer, okay, to stay longer with their platform provider. Okay, so in this gig economy, okay, sharing economy services, okay, or gig economy, people can easily find short-term this job because of the emergence of the internet and smartphones, and it happened because living costs went up, job skill change, what people want evolve. Okay, we do have a permanent job, saying that you want to do the hustle job, we want to add more extra income. So now it is happening. Okay, now it is happening, opening a new opportunity for people like us. Okay, people, for those who wanted to seek more opportunity for upgrading their life. Okay, so that's why the gig economy services become a new culture. Okay, a new culture. Okay, so however, this is the challenges. Okay, however, these challenges in my research context that there is a contradict in definition of the employee and the user conflict. Okay, so it is relating to the legal definition and the classification. Okay, in the conventional law. Okay, conventional law, we are enjoying those benefits because of the act of labor acts. Okay, that establish us as the employee, but not in the gig economy, because they are perceived. Okay, they are established as the user, but not as the employee. So this is the challenges. Okay, this is the challenges. Even the existing law saying that these gig workers are not employee, so they are not entitled to earn like as what we are regular, employee receive the job benefits. Okay, so there are countries facing this kind of the challenges. Okay, Okay, by fully regulated their law. Okay, for example, like US, in Malaysia, there are countries facing this kind of the challenges by partially regulated, like India. Okay, there are also a country that not doing at all by not regulating their law, like Cambodia, okay, towards this industry. So here I'm explaining on how the different perspective, okay, create a different option, okay, in a way, in how we are managing and guiding the challenges, okay, into the opportunity and align it, okay, throughout the way customer or human live, okay, nowadays. Okay, so my research is look at the thing like marketing, okay, specifically in marketing, marketing and relationship marketing and consumer behavior. Okay, my research is focusing on to find what kind of the benefit that this platform provider, okay, can offer to the gig worker in order for them to commit them longer with the same platform provider. So it is a new lens, okay, new lens to bring, okay, and to think and to explore about how we can, guide and keep navigating in a good way. Okay, we want to offer the new way. We have a side effect, so we are embracing the changes by minimizing the risk. Okay, the risk is there, but we are managing it, okay, while minimizing the risk, okay, and optimizing this advantage. So I think I'm done with this outline that I have proposed. Okay, so over to you. Okay, thank you for having me.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Nur Irwani, for your insightful talks. Again, Dr. Irwani, please allow me to summarize your talks a little bit in Bahasa Indonesia. So,
Yes,
everyone, Dr. Irwani menjelaskan bahwa dalam adopsi teknologi sebenarnya terdapat beberapa teori dan model yang mendasari. Misalnya tadi dijelaskan juga dari adoption curve dari Roger yang menyatakan bahwa respons dari konsumen on the perubahan teknologi dapat dibagi menjadi 5, start from the innovators, mulai dari inovator, kemudian sampai pada orang-orang yang skeptik terhadap perubahan teknologi. Kemudian Dr. Irwani juga menjelaskan bahwa perubahan teknologi atau technological acceptance rate itu sebenarnya bisa ditingkatkan dengan dasar technological acceptance model yang dikemukakan oleh Davis beberapa waktu yang lalu, yang menyatakan bahwa persepsi kemudahan, penggunaan maksudnya persepsi kemudahan dalam penggunaan teknologi, kemudian persepsi kegunaan atau usefulness of the technology itu akan meningkatkan kemungkinan seseorang untuk mengadopsi teknologi baru tersebut. Dr. Nur Irwani juga mengatakan bahwa untuk mengatasi perubahan yang disruptif, salah satunya adalah beberapa di antaranya adalah dengan mau menerima, embracing the changes, kemudian mau berinovasi, mau menjadi berbeda, being different, kemudian melakukan pendekatan yang berdasarkan kebutuhan konsumen. So consumer centric is a very important untuk organization. Kemudian Dr. Nur Irwani juga menyampaikan very important and very interesting information bahwa saat ini adalah era sharing economy, yang mana ini adalah bagian dari disruptive innovation as well. Sehingga bagi pelaku sharing ekonomi juga harus aware bahwa dengan adanya sharing ekonomi ini akan ada employee versus user conflict yang harus diatasi oleh pelaku ekonomi. Mungkin itu. Thank you very much. Once again, thank you very much, Dr. Nur Irwani Abdul Rahman, for your talks. And the audience, if you have any question for Dr. Nur Irwani, because I think our time is limited, so you can type your question in the chat box for Dr. Nur Irwani. And I would like to remind the audience again that the attendance list will be distributed later on the end of the event. Okay, now we are going to move to our next speakers. Our next speakers is Bapak Andi Nugroho, Master of Science dari from PT Insan Optima Teknologi Indonesia. Bapak Andi Nugroho.
Yes, hello.
Hello, Pak Andi. How are
Hello,
you?
Bu Raditha. I'm good, Bu.
Meet you. All right, Bapak Andi Nugroho holds Bachelor of Engineering, Sarjana Teknik in Electrical Engineering for Institut Teknologi 10 November Surabaya, Indonesia, and Bachelor of Engineering from Fontys University of Applied Science, Eindhoven. And also Bapak Andi Nugroho earned a Master of Science in Business Analytics and Management Science from University of Southampton, United Kingdom. And now Pak Andi is a doctorate candidate in School of Electronics and Informatics, Institut Teknologi Bandung, Indonesia. Bapak Andi Nugroho has extensive work experiences, especially in IT and telco industry. Am I right, Pak Andi?
Yes, more or less.
Okay, Pak Andi, without any further ado, please you can deliver your thoughts.
Okay, thank you, Bu Raditha. So thank you for the opportunity. I will try to share the screen. Can you see my screen now, Bu Raditha?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Has been wonderful since this morning. So thank you very much, Bu Raditha. So I'm here maybe, well, especially Dr. Gareth and Mrs. Minor have delivered wonderful speeches and then very insightful materials. On my slides, I will maybe come from a bit different perspective, which is from industry. So I will try to share about what are the things that we've done in our company and then how we can still cope up with the disruptions during the disruptions. And then I think theoretically has been discussed a lot more on Dr. Gareth and Mrs. Noor slides, but maybe come from a bit Indonesian industrial perspective. I will try to deliver about what we have done and then how we can still be reliable or keep our existence in Indonesian industry. Okay, so I will try to deliver this digital disruption and its complex impact for Insan Optima Technology, the company that I work for. Okay, so if we are talking about innovations and disruptions, I think Dr. Gareth and Mrs. Noor have explained a lot about it. So I'm not going to elaborate for any further about this. So we all know that what's the disruptive for us in the industry. We try to see it as a very scary terms because we would like to see it as a more for a challenge to ourselves. So we don't want to take it into our comfort zones. So we're not going to say it in a very positive manner, maybe, but we will try to take disruptions as something disruptive, indeed truly disrupting. So it's supposed to go smoothly, but it's not going that smooth. That's what we call it as a disrupting. So anything that makes our business become uncomfortable, unsettled, that's something what we take it as a disruptive. So now how we navigate during those challenges, that's how we respond. That's how exactly what Dr. Gareth have mentioned, how we respond to the disruptions that have come along the way, especially in the technology. So in technological aspects and telco, I think many samples of disruptions. Yeah, in telco and IT, which the sector that we are focused on, maybe mobile internet is something that we still see something very disrupting, but then also have give us the opportunity, a lot of opportunities at the same time. So many things that Kenzie have described about it. So automations, Internet of Things, cloud, advanced robotics, or and autonomous. That's something that have come along the way. But we in Sanoptima technology, if you try to put it into abbreviation of in Sanoptima technology, it actually comes to an IoT. IoT means also Internet of Things. So yes, indeed, we are not accidentally, but we are by design try to make a company that live with the spirits of Internet of Things inside of the company itself. So why the Internet of Things? Because this is what we have done. So the industrial revolution itself have changed a lot since the early beginning of the year. So from the revolution of an industry, and then from the internet is coming around, and then until now with the blockchains and artificial intelligence, many things have changed and forced us in an industry to be adaptable and then to be responsive to the change and the innovation in the technological aspects. So in the industry itself, we try to see this as an what we call it as an industry for.
Pak Andi, is that me or Pak Andi's connection that's not good?
I think because of his connection. Mine was okay.
Okay. Okay, so I think we need to wait a little bit for Pak Andi to go back online. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, there has been some connections problem.
Okay.
Yeah, that's hello.
Yes,
Miss
yes,
Raditha.
I hear you.
Okay.
You can continue, Pak
Yeah, I
Andi.
believe. Okay. True sample of disruptions, I believe. Okay. Let me get back to my slides. Okay. Okay. Okay, now back to my what we have discussed. So the industry 4.0, that's why we call it as an integration of information in industrial revolution. So the first one is the mechanical revolution, and then the second one is going to the electrical revolution, which helps a lot in the productivity of the industry, and then industry 3.0, which comes actually as in automations. So IT has played its role, so less people is involved, more people are actually being more, can be rolled into the managerial levels, so they can manage the productions better and efficient and effectively. And in 4.0, it's not on the management stake, not only be done by the people, but also be done by the machines. So basically an integration of informations, machinery, and people revolutions. So how does it works actually? So if we look into the results of the research from the Deloitte, actually Deloitte have said that the growth of the technology in adapting the transformation of the digitalization is actually a lot more faster as the curve one. Yeah, we can see a lot more faster, a lot more sooner. It comes exponentially. The most lagging behind is actually the public policy. So the policy that supports the industrial revolution has actually growth as not as expected. So this is the same in Indonesia. So in Indonesia, at least the government have laid out the roadmaps and what they call it as a making Indonesia making industry 4.0, making Indonesia 4.0 by the Kemenprin. They have laid out about 5 sectors that become the priorities, which is the food and beverages, textile and apparels, automotives, electronics, and chemicals. So these 5 sectors is actually why picked as the priority because these sectors are actually accountable for about 60% of the GDP manufacturing, and then 65% of exports manufacturing, and also hold the accounts of 60% of worker manufacturing. So the last one is the workers. So this has been very challenges in Indonesia because the workers, now how we can still utilize workers and then elevate their roles and then give them a lot more opportunities to grow while still doing the industry competitively, efficiently, and effective. That's how the challenge is. So from there, how far Indonesia have taken the Indonesia industry at 4.0? A lot of companies are still at the level of 1 or 2 at the most. So the one who have actually implemented, this is the stages. I'm sorry this in Indonesia, but I took it from Kemenprin of Indonesia. But basically, there is no significant results of the research that show that how far the industrializations and digitalization have come in Indonesia. But at least the government have laid out the stages of how far the company have taken industrial revolution of 4.0 into the companies. That's what they have laid out. Okay, so how about insan of technology? So a bit introductions of the insan of technology. So our vision is actually to be the leading in the information technology solution provider with the business analytic approach. So we have carefully put the business analytics inside of the company visions, and to support our vision, we put our mission to provide a value-added IT solution based on IoT and AI, which is a cutting-edge technology. We continuously developing our competencies and educating the Indonesian market about Internet of Things, which become our main focus, and also to ensure our sustainable business growth and profitability that maximizing the shareholder value. Of course, that's the dream of the shareholders. So be basically an all-in-one IT and IoT with the focus of IoT solution with an AI implementation, because we focus on the approach of business analytics. Then information that matters. So that's why we are using the analytics modeling technique that we can deliver. We squeeze the juice out of the data that have been provided. And finally, we establish a strategic partnership. So we don't need to reinvent the wheels, so we can improve the project delivery and solutions faster and efficiently. Okay, So these are our corporate strategies, from the IT designs, hardware designs, and then projects managements, implementations, integration, and AI and big data analytics. But beyond that, we have taken a lot of our three main points. Basically, IoT, which as data system integrator, that's the roles that we try to focus on. And then the second one is the platform business model. And the third one is the focus is on the talent. Of course, this is the same as Dr. Gareth have mentioned, focus on the people. That's what we have been doing, because we only focus on our talent who have been very experienced and who have been very expert in their sector, in their industry. So now maybe in this session, I would like to discuss further about the platform business model. What we meant by the platform business model. So platform business model, if we, Dr. Gareth have mentioned about how innovations, there are a lot of innovations in products, and innovation in people, and also innovation in the business models. I think the platform business model is one of the innovation in the business models. So traditionally, linear business models create, whenever we create a goods or services in a sequential process, which is come from an input, manufacturing, assembly, and to the sales. So the limitations of this linear business growth is actually on the investment on manufacturing and assembly, which is actually internal capacity. So the traditional industry also owns their own productions and inventory, which now we have seen a lot of companies like Gojek, Tokopedia, TikTok, they don't even have any inventory. The inventory has been handled by the other party, which is actually people who use the platform to do the business. So linear business schemes actually rely on the supply side of economic of scale. So spreading the fixed cost in the internal capacity across the greater volume. So the greater the volume, the greater the internal capacity and the cost that they need to spend. So what about the platform business model? The platform business model is creating value by facilitating exchanges between two or more participants, which is actually we open more space and opportunity for people from around the world, around Indonesia, around the world, or any part from of the world, or from any time zones. They can find what they are looking for through the platform business. So this platform business model actually basically hosting a market that allow people to have things and other needs. So the supply side, which is actually the people who is looking for some things, for goods or any services, and the demand side is the one who provide the solutions. Now the platform is helping to facilitating to meet both supply and the demand sides. So this what the platform side. So the platform don't need to focus on the providing the supply or even managing the or finding the demand, but the platform is giving a facility for the one who get the supply and one who got the demand to meet in one place, just like a traditional market, only in a digital manner. Okay. So how far this platform business scheme actually capitalize? So if you see the from the research of S&P 500, actually most of the companies who are now having and the largest market capitalization are doing platform business models instead. So like Microsoft, Amazon, Apple, Google, Facebook, Alibaba, Google, and Tencent, they are all doing the platform business model instead of the others. So the same, even S&P 500 also mentioned that the opportunity for the platform business model is a lot more higher and a lot more exponential than the other business models. Including if we see the unicorns, maybe in Indonesia, Tokopedia and Gojek, they are both actually also the one who is using a platform business model in the industry. They're building a platform for the people to utilize their transportations models and then transportation needs, and then even now become the commercial e-commerce needs or marketplace needs. So basically, they are merging any of the people needs into one platform that can give them that can give the customer services to provide to fulfill their needs. So this is how big and significant of the platform business model is. So if we look into the landscaping, platform is the one who has been doing platform business model. Many industry have been around in this area for product marketplace like Amazon, eBay, Tokopedia for local Indonesia. Service marketplace, Uber, Gojek, Grab, they are also doing it. Airbnb and some other also in the area of the service marketplace platforms, payment platforms, Venmo, PayPal, and for other in Indonesia, OVO and the others, OVO, GoPay and the other are also a payment platform provider. Investment platform also, some application have been built to provide the platform services for the investment to put their investitions into their to the industry that they are interested in. And then for the social networks, I think this one has been very popular for almost a decade now. And for communications platform provider like Skype, WeChat, WhatsApp, Snapchat also are also around, including the social gaming platform like Gameloft, Minecraft, and even the content and development platform. So not only providing the services for the people, but also providing the services for the developer. So that's what comes around with the development platforms like Android, Windows, or Google with the Androids. Okay. So platform business model itself, they have two types, which is the homogeneous and the heterogeneous platforms. Basically, in the homogeneous platform, all users are the same types. So they both are on the demand and the supply side, which is actually can be both. Any user can be in the demand and or in the supply sides. And Skype is doing the homogeneous platform. That's one of the examples. And then same like WhatsApp and social platforms, the other like Facebook and Instagram. But for the heterogeneous one, there are two types of users, which is buyer and seller. Gojek, and the one who can provide the services and the one who wants to get the services. Tokopedia, the one who is selling, and then the one who is buying. Those are the heterogeneous platforms. So you can do either way, either it's homogeneous or heterogeneous. Both can be done by the platform. So what are the key success for the platform business model? The first one is matchmaking. Of course, this platform needs to facilitate to meet both supply and the demand. Yeah. So how then give the more services of the one of the second level task, which is how we can do the aggregations and then curating the the quality and premium goods and services. That's something that the platform provider needs to do it. And then the second one is of course transactions. We want to put it as a all-in-one services provided by the platform. So the close of the deal, which is the sales and the transactions, need to be done within those platform models. And the third one is the credibility and the trust. This is a very critical part and a very important part, because when we do the platform business model without the credibility and the trust that we build, then no one will use the facility that we try to provide with the platform business model. I think that's one of the key points. Those are the key points on how to make the platform business model a success. How we can make money out of it. So what's the monetization schemes? Simply, there are three types, which is transaction fees, subscription fees, advertising. You can do more with it actually, or you can actually mix from it, both transaction and subscription together, or you can do any other way. You can try to do it for click base or anything, or volume quota base. That's how you can do it. You can there are many ways that how you can monetize. The crucial part is to define what your platform is providing. Then you know how to monetize it. You will very responsive, and then since you are doing it in a system, in an IT systems, the room for the innovation and improvement are actually a lot. So you can find the best monetization schemes based on your customer as well. Okay. So does all industry actually going to the platform business model? Of course not. Some are still doing a hybrid, like Apple's, for example, and also Androids. They are doing the phones, which they are selling the phones, which is actually doing a linear traditional business schemes. But they also providing the service of an app stores, which is actually giving a platform service business model. So that's how they can mix both of the way to do business from the linear and also the platforms.
Excuse me,
Currently, platforms. Okay.
excuse me, Andi, the time is
Yeah.
10 minutes left.
Okay. I'll do it in 3 minutes then.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, so yeah, if we look into the platform business, growth, I think, and now many call it as super apps or super platform. Basically, this is the platform that can facilitating the industry from any other sector into not only one sector. So not on, like Gojek, why do they call that the super apps? Because they're not doing only for transportation models, but they're also doing selling models. They're doing also food selling models. So that's why they call it as a super platform or super apps. But for the big techs, the big tech are actually the largest company that provided like the big four: Google, Facebook, Apple, and Amazon, plus Microsoft, and also some other Chinese players like Baidu, Alibaba, and Tencent. Okay, so what we are doing in what we have done in IoT, we try to build what we call it as a NISITA, Internet of Things platform. This is basically a all-in-one platform that can generate, that can be your data warehouse for any of the smart devices, any of the network that you want to use. It's all can be compiled and managed by the NISITA. And then this NISITA then can do many things, can do the decision analytics, that can do the alert reminder, and then they can also do help the management to make decisions. So basically, NISITA is a technology agnostic platform or smart Internet of Things devices. So it can be used any of the technology by any of the technology, but still the data can be managed within one single platform. This is what we have done. We've built the NISITA from early 2020 during the COVID situations. We tried to build this platform for the Internet of Things and smart devices. So we hope, especially for industry. So with this, we can help our customer from oil and gas company, plantations company, manufacturing company. They can come all around using our one single IoT platform to help them how they can manage their productions, their productivity of the worker, the effectivity and the efficiency of their plants and everything. So these are some of the use cases that we have done: migrant protection worker, social distancing assistance during the COVID situation, and then fleet tracking management are all some of the use cases that we have done. I think that's all from us. So hopefully it can give you an insightful knowledge about doing the platform business model. And okay, I'll leave it back to Ms. Raditha, please.
Okay, thank you very much, Pak Andi Nugroho. It's very interesting topics actually, Pak Andi Nugroho, and allow me to highlight a little bit about what you have delivered in Bahasa. Ya, jadi Bapak dan Ibu, tadi Pak Andi Nugroho pada intinya setuju ya dengan apa yang sudah disampaikan oleh Dr. Gareth Thomas and also Dr. Irwani. Pak Andi tadi juga menyampaikan bahwa di perusahaan yang beliau pimpin ini juga fokus pada people ya Pak ya. Jadi people fokus pada orang-orang, kemudian sekarang move from berpindah ya dari linear business model ke platform business model, yang mana di platform business model ini ada dua type ya Pak, ada homogen, ada heterogen, yang mana di platform business model ini juga menjembatani bertemunya supply dan demand, begitu ya Pak Andi ya. Kemudian ada beberapa key success points yang tadi juga disampaikan oleh Pak Andi, bagaimana platform ini bisa memfasilitasi supply dan demand dengan mengurangi cost, kemudian melakukan kurasi, lalu memfasilitasi transaksi, dan juga menjaga kredibilitas dan kepercayaan dari penggunanya. Kemudian revenue stream-nya dari mana? Tadi Pak Andi menjelaskan ada beberapa revenue stream yang bisa diambil biaya transaksi, biaya berlangganan yang bisa diambil dari pelanggan atau pengguna, kemudian juga dari iklan. Mungkin begitu dulu highlight dari saya karena kita sepertinya agak mengejar waktu nih Bapak dan Ibu. Now it's time for addressing question from the audience. So there are several questions that have been delivered through the chat box. The first person that deliver question, we have Bapak Rahadian from Digitech. Bapak Rahadian, do you want to ask question directly to Dr. Thomas? Is Bapak Rahadian here with us? Do you hear me? Bapak Rahadian from Digitech University Bandung. Okay, maybe Pak Rahadian is not here, but please allow me to read the question from the. Yeah, Pak Rahadian? No? Okay. So, Dr. Thomas, we are going to start the question and answer session, Dr. Thomas, and there is a question from Bapak Rahadian from Digitech University Bandung. Bapak Rahadian asking, he said that disruption turns something that was old into something exciting and can potentially open up markets. However, on the other hand, there are two possibility faced, namely whether this will be threat or an opportunities. The question is, how do we change our perspective on this disruption so that it becomes an opportunity in business that is very much in demand at the moment, apart from the innovation? Is it quite clear, Dr. Thomas?
No, it's not clear. I'm sorry. I don't quite understand the question.
Okay, so the question is, when we are talking about disruption, disruption can be threats and disruption can be an opportunity. So the question from Rahadian from Digitech University Bandung, he asked question, how do we change our perspective to face disruption as opportunity?
Okay, I think I understand. Yeah. So I think this is down to our attitude towards change, yes? This is what I tried to talk about in my presentation, that sometimes humans, we are afraid of change, and therefore we see change as a threat. Therefore, disruption is seen as a threat. So I think we have to embrace change and understand the importance of change in our lives. And that way, then we can see disruption as an opportunity, not as a threat.
Okay, so what we have to do is embrace the change. So we need to, we have to aware that the change is always be there, and we should embrace the change. So we will not face the change as threat, but we will face the change as opportunity. Thank you very much, Dr. Thomas. And then the next questions, I think I'm going to take question from the audience. Yeah, Rio. Bapak Rio, you can ask directly. And don't forget to mention your institution.
Oke, baik. Apakah ini boleh menggunakan bahasa Indonesia, Mbak? Nanti Mbak tolong translate-kan.
Oke, ya, silakan Pak.
Oke, baik. Di sini saya ada memiliki 3 pertanyaan masing-masing untuk ketiga narasumber. Sebelumnya perkenalkan, nama saya Rio.
Mohon maaf Pak Rio, boleh satu saja Pak Rio, gantian karena pertanyaannya sangat banyak.
Oke, baik. Jadi
Can you
langsung
choose
ke
one
7.
question? Ya.
Oke, baik. Sebelumnya saya Rio, saya dari Universitas Tanjung Pura Pontianak. Di sini saya ada satu pertanyaan yang paling mendasari, yaitu sebagai Gen Z Boomers atau agensi perubahan, bagaimana mereka menciptakan tantangan-tantangan yang ada agar dapat menjadi sebuah opportunity atau peluang dan kesempatan yang baru. Terima kasih.
Alright, thank you Pak Rio. Untuk siapa pertanyaannya Pak Rio? Untuk ketiganya? Ya, Dr. Thomas, Dr. Nur Irwani, and juga Pak Andi. There is a question from Pak Rio from Tanjung Pura University, Indonesia. Pak Rio asks, as a Gen Z, what can Generation Z done, how they can create challenges. I mean, they can create opportunity. How they can create opportunity, apa tuh namanya, during the disruption era nowadays. So Pak Rio asking, what should Gen Z do to create opportunity in the disruption era? So maybe because Gen Z is a little bit different with the other cohort, so maybe you have insight and suggestion for our Gen Z. Maybe Pak Andi atau Ibu Nur Irwani or Dr. Thomas?
I'll start with for me, I'm not going to be very theoretical or something, but I may take it from one of the good quotes actually from the Apple founder, which is Steve Jobs. I think it's a good thing, a good role model in keeping and navigating during the disruptions. As a Gen Z, I think what we need to do is only the two things, which is stay foolish and stay hungry. I think that's a quite famous quote from Steve Jobs. I think that's the only way that keep our Gen Z to be relevant to this disruption era, because when they are stay curious and then get curious with any of the innovations that have come around in the during the disruptions times, I think Gen Z have a lot more advantages in taking all of those improvement and changes. I think they are a lot more. They're on the way on shaping their life. They're on the way on shaping their knowledge. So then keep on learning and then finding something new. Find some motivations to push yourself to push your boundaries. Basically, I think that's the only thing for me.
All right. So as a Gen Z, we need to improve our curiosity, ya Pak Andi. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right. Dr. Nur Irwani or Dr. Thomas, do you want to add something about Gen Z?
Okay.
Please go ahead.
All right. For me, you own the advantages because you are the generation who rule the latest. I mean the latest living style. So just keep exploring and educating yourself in a way to to find the geese of the changes. Okay, you have to lead the changes because you are live within your generation right now. So by having growth mindset, not a fixed mindset, looking for opportunity, for another opportunity. If you plan to build your career, learn about your career as much as you can, then you have to plan and replan and be flexible. Okay, be flexible to what you are trying to where, okay, to where that you are trying to go and how you are going to reach your goals. Okay, so you have to optimize your knowledge. Okay, your latest knowledge. Okay, your latest knowledge. Okay, that is from me. Okay, I try to summarize it in a short way. Okay, thank you.
All right, so the key point is being curious and then educate yourself, explore yourself, and be flexible. I think that's the answer for Pak Rio from Universitas Tanjung Pura. Now we are going to move to the next question. I've got question in the chat box from Rizky Eka, Ibu Rizky Eka from Digitech University. Are you here with us? Do you want to ask question directly? Ibu Rizky Eka? Oh, okay. Okay, maybe I will read the question from Ibu Rizky Eka. I have questions for Dr. Thomas. I have a startup business, especially use Kira. Okay, maybe please allow me to reinterpret your question, Ibu Rizky. So, Dr. Thomas, there is a question from Ibu Rizky. So, Ibu Rizky is running a small businesses and she asked whether she need to face and doing something regarding the environmental changes or regarding the disruption. And maybe I also want to add that in terms of change and innovation for small enterprises or for novice entrepreneur, they might have what we call it like limited resources. So it might be difficult for them to do disruptive innovation. So do you have any suggestion for our novice entrepreneurs out there, Dr. Thomas?
It's very difficult to give precise advice for one particular business. But if I had to give some general advice, I would say that we are never too old to keep learning. So even if you have a small business, limited resources, you still have to find some time to keep yourself educated about what is happening, not only in your market, but in a wider market. So sometimes the temptation or the workload is so heavy for your company, you have no time to think about. You think you have no time to consider these other areas. That's really dangerous. Don't do that. Please always keep thinking, learning, and looking for opportunities. So yeah, I guess that would be my advice.
Thank you very much, Dr. Thomas. So if I go back to your presentation, Dr. Thomas, you said that people focus is very important. So we need to invest to ourselves, right?
Absolutely,
on our
yes.
knowledge and education. Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay. And yeah, now I'm going to take a question from the audience. We have Ibu Yunita. Ibu Yunita. Still mute, Ibu.
Oke, barusan belum diizinkan. Oke, thank you for the opportunity. My name is Yunita Hardikasari. I'm from Jember University, and thank you for the Mr. Thomas, Mrs. Nur Irwani, and Mr. Andi for the explanation about this topic today. I want to ask for one question, but I want to description about my opinion that destructive technology, because I'm from agriculture technology in the field, and in the study case, disruptive technology in the part of agriculture and industry, the government had made many efforts to attract the attention of farmer so that they can involve technology in the implementation. But there is less good response from the farmer. The implementation of sustainable agriculture, the final biological control, again, are improved a step to support agro-industry better. But the farmer cannot follow this technology. Some farmers can also not recognize about the e-commerce truck. It has already been introduced. So the question is, then what the step of what the innovation can be taken from to awareness and to increase the awareness from the farmers about the technology, about the e-commerce, because when we observe at the field, where the study case, the farmer, some farmer cannot leave the traditional aspect or traditional aspect at the society. Gitu. Terima kasih, Bu.
All right, thank you, Ibu Yunita. So your question is for who? Questionnya untuk siapa, Ibu? Pertanyaannya untuk siapa, Ibu? Oh, untuk tiga-tiganya. Yeah, I think if we have time to answer, so the question is for Dr. Thomas, for Dr. Nur Irwani, and Bapak Andi. I think it's regarding the new technology and how to deliver a new technology for uneducated people. For example, our Indonesian farmer that they doesn't want to adopt technology. Maybe Dr. Nur Irwani can answer because it's related with your presentation, I think.
Okay, again, the basic concept about encouraging, encouraging people to try the new thing. Okay, the new thing is, look at the category of the adoption. Okay, where do the farmers can be slot in? Okay, category number 1, 2, 3, or 4 or 5. Okay, so farmers, we can assume they have less knowledge. Okay, less knowledge, less exposure, and of course, less knowledge, less exposure will lead to the less awareness, and this chronology will lead them towards less discourage them to practice the new thing. So in embracing this kind of the challenges, okay, this kind of the challenges, I see this is a room, this is the avenue for a university, okay, because we own the platform as the education, okay, education to do research, to approach them, to at least to encourage them to know, to introduce to them what is this advantage, okay, what is the advantage about trying the new thing, okay, trying the new sort of that she mentioned before, and we still have to back the root issue about educating, okay, about educating minds, okay, and then understanding the process, okay, process in quiet times, okay, we provide people knowledge, and then we create awareness, then only they will start to practice, okay, a new thing. So basically this is my opinion.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Nur Awani. So maybe we need to keep keep saying the advantages in adopting a new technology. Yeah. All right. Yeah, because we running out of time. Ladies and gentlemen, before we conclude, I want to express my appreciation to our 3 speakers. Thank you very much, Dr. Gareth Thomas. Thank you very much, Dr. Nur Awani. And also thank you so much, Bapak Andi Nugroho. And also I thank for the audience for their active participation. Actually, there are still like many questions in the chat box, and like some people still raising their hands, but we're running out of time. Thank you for joining us in the exploration of disruption, opportunity, and challenges. We understand that changing cannot be avoided. So what we need to do are embrace the change. Think creatively, build our network, and make disruptive innovation. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, as our speaker mentioned before, that changes are going rapidly and it boosts disruption. However, disruption not only will give us harm, but it will also beneficial for us if we can handle it, if we can handle the change and make rapid innovation. Okay, thank you very much again, everyone. Hopefully, this seminar can be a memorable and insightful experiences for all of us. Now, I will hand it over to the Master of Ceremony. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Mrs. Raditha, and all the 3 keynote speakers, right? It's a very honor, right, for every one of us, I think, to have you, right, as our moderator, and then also to have the 3 keynote speakers here. Okay, so I think, ladies and gentlemen, all the participants, to be honest, for me, this seminar is very insightful, right? I think it's really provoking, thought-provoking, that actually maybe disruption it's not only come from the external, ya. I think gangguan itu bukan hanya dari eksternal, but most of the time, most of the biggest disruption, many times it's come from our mind. Jadi, so I think it's a really true, right, that how we manage our mind to respond to every disruption become one opportunity, right? So thank you very much to all the keynote speakers, and ladies and gentlemen, it's really fantastic our seminar today, right, with the realms of disruption, challenge, and opportunity. So I hope you found that our discussion enlightening and thought-provoking. Okay, so I hope, right, every one of you not think disruption as an obstacle, but you will think the disruption as one opportunity. Okay, jadi mudah-mudahan setelah dari seminar ini kita semua bisa memandang disruption atau gangguan, goncangan, hambatan itu bukan sebagai satu hambatan, tapi sebagai satu tantangan yang bisa kita atasi dan membuat kita lebih maju dan lebih sukses lagi. Okay, so before we conclude, okay, let me check. So up to now, we still have many participants with us here. Thank you very much for you that stay with us. So before we conclude, let me express our deepest gratitude to our distinguished speakers, our ST moderator, and each one of you for your active participation, right? So your engagement has truly enriched our collective understanding. Thank you very much. Hatur nuhun pisan kanggo semuanya, para akang teteh, bapak ibu semua yang sudah bergabung di virtual meeting kita hari ini, di seminar internasional kita hari ini. Mudah-mudahan ada manfaatnya. Okay, so as we part ways, remember that the insight gained today are not just ideas, but potentially catalysts for positive change. Ya, mudah-mudahan setiap ilmu yang kita peroleh dari sini pada virtual meeting kali ini bisa menjadi satu pemantik perubahan baik yang terjadi di diri kita. Okay, so please take what you have learned and apply it to your endeavors, be it in academia, industry, or beyond. So we extend also our appreciation. Thank you very much to Dr. Gareth Thomas, Dr. Irwani Rahman, and then also to Mr. Andi Nugroho, M.Sc, for sharing your expertise, and to Mrs. Raditha Devi Hapsari, S.A.M.M. Ph.D, for skillfully guiding our discussion today. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, I am Sylva Sagita. On behalf of Master Degree Program of Innovation Management Digitech University Bandung, Indonesia, I want to thank everyone who made this event possible, from the organizing committee to our technical support team. Okay, so I would like also express our gratitude to our sponsor, to Bank Niaga, and then also I would like to remind all the participants, don't forget to fill the attendance list, and then also for your certificate, it will be sent to your email, right? Don't forget, please check your email regularly, the email that you use to register to join with this program, okay? So I think that's it from us. Thank you very much. Okay, and then also one more thing, guys, sorry. Please check your group, okay? Those who not join yet with the group, please contact the admin to join with the group. Do not leave or do not lose any important information that will be sent to the group. Okay, so I think that's it from us. Feel free to stay connected and let's continue the conversation. We look forward to meeting you again in our future endeavors, right? So safe journey and until we meet again. Thank you and goodbye. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.